What?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
What's up?
Welcome.
Hi, who are you?
Stupid.
Stupid?
Stupid.
Yeah,
What?
that
El
fits.
Stupido.
Pinky
Yeah.
in the brain. How that?
Basically. He's definitely
Who's-
I'll
brains.
let you guys
I'm the brain?
decide who that
Okay,
is.
good.
Yeah, no, your brains for sure.
I'm brains. Yeah.
So how's it going? How's the weather there?
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah.
we had snow and ice, and now it's just a week full of rain.
Yeah,
Like a lot of
same-
rain.
Welcome to Canada.
We can't do anything outside. I mean, even inside the shop, it's just everything's damp. It's terrible.
We my buddy across the street from me there, I shared that Corvette. Did you see that black Corvette I shared?
Yeah.
That was for sale. It's gone now, but we drove to Tennessee and got it. We left yesterday morning and we just got back about 2 hours ago, and we drove all through the night. So
Was it the twin turbo big block one?
no, it's this was a roller,
Oh, okay.
but it has a cage. It's got a cage. It's got seats. It's basically been a drag car before, parachute, all that stuff on there. It was a solid roller for $4,000.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I have to make this live somehow. Give me a second. Or not live, public.
Let's see. I was going to find it and try to share it.
Yeah, once I make it public, you can do that. There you go. Should be good now.
Yeah. What? Ding. All right, everything dinged.
So I haven't talked to you guys since the pad.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
What did you think of that experience?
Long.
Yeah. It was a lot of running around, but we kind of expected it.
It's always like that. I mean, at least the past couple times we've been there, but it's
Yeah.
always worth it staying.
I'm still 99% sure Buddy crossed on you on that race.
It is what it is. We forgot to turn our GoPros on the car, and
Yeah.
I wasn't going to argue with it whenever my car was broken. Couldn't make it the next round anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we even talked about it right afterwards. I'm like, I would have bet money he crossed, but it didn't matter. Couldn't make another pass anyway. So
Well, that would have been awesome because then there was two killers out once.
yeah, but we couldn't prove it. We couldn't find
Yeah.
any video.
It
that
wasn't
really
worth
showed it.
arguing.
Nah.
Well, I tried to argue for a sec, but they shut that down pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he said, left lane one, I'm like, all right, that's what he called. Live by it. We die by it. It's fine.
Yep. See if these comments are these working. Can you see that in the comments or no?
Not on the computer. Oh, okay.
There we go. Yep. All right,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So rain, snow, no racing. How far you got to travel to get some racing in?
The next one we're going to is probably going to be Leakesville, the inverse.
Yeah, Justin
Okay.
Lee's race. It's pretty awesome out there.
Street race in Haven. The facility is awesome. They have like a lake in the center of it. There are cabins you can rent, and it's a 2-day event. I mean,
Oh, really?
It's badass, front side and back side.
And where's that? Like what town?
Leakesville, Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've never been there.
It's a good time. It's a slow backside, and I mean, it really wasn't that fast of a front side when we went.
It's where they had the original Grand Hustle race.
Yep, on the backside.
You know what? I was just talking to somebody about that. Actually, it was the guy we bought the Corvette off of.
Oh yeah.
He's like, yeah. He's like, I seen one no prep race. He said, and it was that one for 250,000.
No,
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think they paid that, but
no. But
You could have won the first one there, but missed it by that much.
yeah, that was when we had Jeepers. It was a killer on that bad surface stuff.
That's why we got gapped a week ago.
He's talking about Corey.
Oh yeah, you did get gapped.
Snow racing.
Yeah, they had like a little.
We were racing in the snow.
oh yeah,
just
yeah.
wilding out.
Do you guys get a lot of snow or no?
No.
No.
Like
Yeah.
once every 4 years, maybe.
That's what I figured.
And
Because
then
you're not that far from Sheldon, right? Like you're
about an
hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I had a blast out there. I'm not gonna lie. Like even when we were testing, like that was great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, out at the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
So-
good time, especially the cop rolling up out of nowhere.
Man, I still tell everybody that story. Like I was literally being a jackass. Like, oh, the cops are here. No, it was a real cop.
Yeah, I didn't know either. And then I seen him hanging off the side. I was like, well, I'm gonna keep getting the generator out just in case. Oh yeah,
I'm gonna ask Bobby. Bobby, did you think we were getting entrapped there or whatever you call it? Like set up?
No, I wouldn't worry about it.
No, I mean like for the street stuff. Remember, he was pretty adamant. Like,
oh yeah, I don't really trust that. So I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
We
Yeah,
knew
I'm
we
good.
could be there.
No,
Not out
I
there.
got some spots y'all can come race. I'm okay. Y'all can test. I'm like, nah, we're good.
yeah, we're good. But he seemed pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Was that your first time at the pad?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I did that this year. I just did some bucket list racing stuff and checking out all the tracks that I wanted to. I missed some, obviously, with car problems, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's our problem right now.
we're in a forced winter shutdown.
Yeah.
Dude,
Before the pad, I changed my motor because my heads on my 5.3 had dropped a valve seat with less than 20 runs on it. And so we put my 408 back in, and it had been having bearing issues. So we put a brand new set of main bearings in it and rod bearings. We made the 5 test passes with you out there, come back, and the bearings were shot. So we put another set of bearings in it and made 3 runs, the 2 at the backside, and then the one at the pad. And I had like 15 pounds of oil pressure at the end of that run. It was making some noises. So we put my 5.3 back in. Mast hooked us up with some new prototype heads to test out.
yeah.
And I sent it a little too hard over in the DFW area on a street race. So I torched the block a little bit. We're welding that up this week and getting it back going.
Yeah. I think you torched it just right because you didn't get them both. You only got the one.
Yeah.
And Leon, man, if I could tell you what's going on, I would, but
oh yeah, you got in that local group, didn't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to race down there so hard and none of them would take it. Like, I'm like you guys, like, even though Bones is fast, right? Like it's fast, but it's still got a handicap.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Like you got rusty ass ladder bars, and I've seen this personally. So
Yeah,
you got rusty ass bolts that don't move. You got, rusty ladder bars. They're probably bent.
Oh, one of them is bent.
Yeah, one is definitely bent.
So, I mean, even me trying to get a race, like I don't know if you looked inside my car, but it's as I say it is. It's not like it's handicapped too. It's heavy, stock suspension 240, as street as it can get.
Yeah.
And I tried getting these guys to line up, and none of them would do it. I even tried to play Leon's game and race quarter mile on the street, and he almost did it, and then he didn't call back. So
yeah, it's hard to get stuff off around here too.
yeah.
You see what Pullen said?
What do you
Me
say?
and Bones the same handicap as motherfuckers.
I stuffed that car in the ditch first time I drove it.
Yeah.
Like smooth stuffed it in the ditch.
About 80 miles an hour, he spun it out. First time he drove Bones down our back road, put it in the ditch, dented the quarters or the rocker panel all up, broke the rear suspension. It was pretty funny.
I tried to be a smart ass. I was like, oh, he's only made it to the 330. Let me show you something.
Yeah, show you up in the ditch.
Yeah, and I'd been driving a G-body before that, so I was like, oh, it starts spinning a little bit. I'll just drive it. It'll be fine. No. I did about that third whip and come around on me. I went, this isn't going good. Somehow didn't hit anything.
Yeah. His foot couldn't reach the pedals. That's what Michael said.
We had some stuff behind him so he could reach.
Yeah, I literally had to stack stuff in there just so I could reach the pedals.
Yeah. A couple 2x4s.
Some of those little, pads that you sit on an engine bay. Stuff a couple in there. It's good.
Any changes to the car you're thinking of? Are you going to do what we talked about? Or are you going to leave it for a bit longer? Changing up the rear.
No, I'm gonna leave it for a little bit. We're gonna raise the rod height back up for Leaksville. It seems to like the weight back there with the rod height higher. It makes the ladder bars a little more aggressive. We're gonna fix the motor. I'm gonna put a burn down tank in the back instead of having the little catch can blowing oil all over my windshield.
It's a good idea. I need to do that.
We're gonna knock some timing out of it. We're gonna see if it'll hold about 60 pounds of boost instead of 50.
Yeah. No rings, or you got rings in the heads?
It's Athena's right now, but
we have Athena's on it, and we're gonna just run that until we take it apart again. The motor has a hurt piston from the previous heads coming apart.
Pistons.
Yeah.
One's really beat up, and I just literally just ground it down with a roll lock disc and slapped some heads on it and kept going.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
I've done that a few times.
So what's up with the Blazer?
I hurt the heads on it. I think I started hurting them at Dig or Die.
Dig or Die,
yeah. Yeah, because you saw how much I was fighting down there. I had turbo issues. I had exhaust manifold issues. The bellows blew completely out, which, we knew it was going to happen. It just seemed to happen as soon as we pulled it out of the trailer.
Is that why I wasn't building boost? Was the bellow?
Combination of that, and I was having a little bit of drag on the turbo, but ended up fixing that the next morning. We were just looking so much exhaust, and that was. I think we had built boost one time in the driveway with that turbo when we swapped to the VS98. Yeah. And so we were still trying to figure it out too. And first round when it left, it was one bum. It barely got to anything.
Needs more nitrous.
I haven't put nitrous on it yet. I've been out of fuel system. That's why it ended up hurting it. A lot of detonation on it. But it was fast in between the pops.
Yeah, I think your Dig or Die, I looked at the log and it was 36 pounds of boost at 16.5 AFR on E. The whole, almost the whole run, I went, oh boy.
In between the pops, it was pulling.
I bet it was.
I was like, how did that stay alive?
Hey, man, I see that happen sometimes. I had a couple customers last year, and I noticed where you could run E85 a little bit leaner because these guys, I still don't know what was going on with the combo, but I think it was fuel pressure regulator problems, but they were, 14.5 going down at, 20, 25 pounds of boost, and the engine's still happy. I don't know what to tell you.
It sounds like a boosted LT car that wants to be 13.0 boosted.
Yeah.
Makes peak power there.
Like my car, it likes to be like 11.0 at 35, 40 pounds of boost.
I think that's about what we target.
Yeah, we have his about 11.0, 11.2.
I've got a not good fuel system on it, and it's once I started getting some good parts on it, that started showing its weakness. So we're about to change that though.
For every good part you put on your stuff, you're gonna find the next weak link. Eventually you'll have all good parts. And then the original good parts you put on, they start breaking.
Yeah. So we're on that path right now, and we're just on fuel system right now. But yeah, we're gonna get it back together here in probably next week or so.
Right on.
And get it back on the dyno, see if we can get past about 30 pounds. That's where we were running out. It was healthy up till that, but there are a couple of used Magna Fuel 750s, and they're pretty wore out. They've been on for over a year.
They're rebuildable, you know that, right?
I've rebuilt them a couple of times, and then a couple have come apart, and I pieced together. So they're on their last leg.
The housing's a little chewed up on one of them, and Zach does have in the Blazer. It has Summit LS Pro rods and pistons in it.
Same as my car.
Stock crank, stock main bolts.
It's stock crank.
Stock names. You guys are wild. Stock main bolts.
So the rods and pistons I bought out of one of his motors, he had them in aluminum block. He ended up leaving oil pressure, so it was pretty much trashed. Bought the rods and pistons, slid them into an iron block, just used the original rod bearings and everything that come out of that motor, matched them, and gave it a bunch of oil pressure. She's been happy ever since. I think we're on the 5th set of head gasket. Well, I didn't blow a head gasket that time, but it kissed a valve, and
yeah, we found with the stock,
happy.
We had the stock heads on it. It would hold 40 pounds of boost. At 42 pounds, it blew a head gasket every single time.
Every time.
With the new heads, we're running, instead of being able to go all the way to 42 pounds, and we were running out of fuel right around there on the stock heads. With the new heads, they're flowing so much better that we're getting up like 36 pounds, and we're out of fuel now.
Yeah,
but
it picked up like 150 pounds an hour.
Poland over at Nitrous Express, they hooked us up with a fuel pump setup for it, so we're gonna be installing that pretty soon and be able to turn it up even more.
Right on. I think that thing will be a pretty good little weapon once it's sorted out.
Yeah, I mean, we're just fighting little gremlins right now with it. I think this year I may swap and try some 26-850 stuff with it, just because traction's never really been its limitations, and I'm gonna change a few other things on it. I think are gonna help it a lot, but yeah, I just need to keep it together, I guess.
Really wants to get out of the class that I'm in.
Well,
you make it tough.
It is.
So.
The car, we've struggled with it the last 6 months or so. We were doing really good with it, and then we had some motor issues, so we had to change our setup. And it took a while to learn that new setup, because we went from a 5.3 with no torque and everything to a 408 with, mast heads, and this thing was making all the power. And we were fighting, and then we got that thing dialed in, and we were winning races left and right with it. And then we had the oil pressure issue. And I think I actually twisted block up, because I was pushing that one like 40 something pounds.
Yeah, and we kept creeping up coolant pressure that would match boost.
Yeah, we were getting coolant pressure. We were losing oil pressure. I think the block was just it wasn't happy.
I think it's cracked somewhere in the center.
But
one of the.
Are you on a motor plate, or are you on?
Yeah, I have a motor plate and a mid plate. But we went back to this 5.3 that I originally had built for the car. It's aluminum rotted stock crank. It's got some good pistons in it, and it's all balanced. I had it built to be able to spin 9,500 RPM, but it's been a good little motor. It's been tough. It's been welded on a few times now, just because sometimes we send it a little too hard, and I get a little greedy with the timing on it. But that's just my fault.
Everything we have is fully tested.
I really believe that for the stuff that we do, especially with a car like yours, I really think like a good solid 5.3 combo that makes, lots of power up top is good for what we do.
It's real manageable down low.
It's manageable down low, and you can get after it up top. So
yeah, that's what I like about it. Yeah. You have a lot wider range of tuning on it, other than like with my 408. It makes the same power at 15 pounds of boost that my 5.3 makes at 30 pounds of boost.
Yeah.
So it's you get a lot more tunability out of the little motor. Now,
there's a little more forgiveness.
Yeah, which it's a little more stress on that little motor spinning it so hard, but if they come apart, they come apart.
Well, I mean, you're just running a stock crank, so you should be worried a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why I went with aluminum rods, just to kind of soak up some of the
rotating mass.
Yeah, some of the rotating mass and some of the shock on the crank. And if it holds up another 6 months, I'll be happy.
Like, I've never really built engines ever. Like, I've always put heads together or whatever, and put heads on, and got stuff together. But when I was in North Carolina just before Dig or Die, and I was having all those oil pressure issues, some things that I learned about the clearances that some people run and others say don't run, and you kind of mix in between, is the best thing I did with my motor. I have zero metal in my oil now. I've always had a little bit because I spin it high. I spin it like 9,000 RPM. Right? I don't think it's meant to do that, but do it anyway. And just every oil change, you would just see metal in it all the time. And then after, 5 or 6 oil changes, I'd change the bearings. But I didn't know about giving it more clearance on certain bearings and your thrust. And I think that's detrimental to having a good solid 5.3 or like a high horsepower 5.3 anyways. Like if you see my crank, you could see the middle number 3 main. You could see where the crank was going like this in the middle at that high RPM. So, but a couple guys said open up, a certain couple, and it should stop that crank from getting that weird wobble to it at high RPM. And I think it has. We'll see what happens.
Hell, the best 5.3 you ever had, you could, just make music, bumping it back and forth off of the thrust bearing.
Yeah, that was just stock bottom end
music.
Stuff. That was the stock bottom end days. I went and got $160 5.3 out of old Taxi Tahoe and
400,000 mile motor.
Yeah, 400,000 miles, and I was like, "Hey, I got this cheap motor. Let's stick it in." And I showed him. I was like, "Look at the thrust it's got. It literally had almost a 1/4 inch of thrust."
I told him, I said, "I'm not putting the motor in." I said, "If you want to go race it, put it in. I'm not doing it."
Yeah, we won like 3 or 4 no trailers right in a row with it.
Yeah,
it smoked like hell, but God, that motor was fast.
Man, mine's smoky too. I can't get away from it. I don't know what it is.
Mine is a little long diesel too. I think I've got a couple of rings that maybe are a little unhappy, but compression show good.
Mine smokes as soon as I give it like full throttle to get on the trans brake. You'll see it, like choo-choo train for a second. As soon as it clears up, it goes away.
Yeah, but his does that a little bit too.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe a valve seal or something.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Oh. Yeah.
Yes, that's a stock crank sensor in my engine as well.
Same.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, factory stuff. Nothing special. Yeah. Which I mean, both of these cars were started real like budget friendly.
Yeah.
I had probably under 10 grand in it, and you probably had right about that too, maybe a little more.
Yeah, we saved up a whole bunch of parts here and there, and then when we had everything, we threw them together. So,
it's most people these days, man. It's not easy anymore.
Yeah.
It never was easy. Don't get me wrong, but with everything going on, and I learned a lot this year just by traveling of how people do things, and just the cost of doing it too.
Well, and just seeing other people's programs like in person. You can pick up on a lot of things that you could change on yours just by watching what other people are doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting watching you guys too when you're testing. Seeing it from the outside of the car is a little different, than being inside of the car all the time.
I'm a little different than most people. Most people take little steps. If I see something, I'll take a big swing, and if it doesn't work, I'll step back. But I don't want, tires are expensive. We got through a bunch of tires. Fuel's not really expensive, but at that point, I knew the motor was limited on how many runs we could get.
5, I think you said.
Yeah, so I was trying. I was making educated guesses on what it would need.
Yeah.
And
see,
we did.
I like making big swings, but only when it's like 3rd or 4th or 2nd round. Like I'll go first round really well and then make my big swing. I try it at the race.
I try not to do that.
Yeah.
I'll do a full send tune first round, but usually mine will go down on it.
Yeah.
That race in DFW a couple weeks ago that we did when it was 13 degrees.
God,
I cannot believe my car smoked the tires like it did for the first 150 feet.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was
like 14 degrees.
I think I ran like a 1.8 or a 1.9 60 foot and like a 450 330, and then almost it was 140 almost out the back door.
It take nothing for the first half. And then as soon as you hit the 330 mark, you could just pour pretty much whatever you wanted to it.
Yeah,
it stick.
It was really strange.
But they said that spot never gets good, like on 60-foot wise. It just doesn't take anything.
Yeah.
I was very surprised about where we were testing, how good that was there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because it didn't look that good and it
No.
wasn't that sticky.
No.
But
Even
it was
after all our
deadly.
hits, it wasn't sticky.
No.
Yeah,
But-
it was strange. But
Very.
Yeah, I mean, you were in the air for what, 100 foot at least?
I still like I was just saying it to my buddy when we were on this trip. I'm like, when it was like going out, I knew the front end was high, but it was pitch dark out there and it's in the middle of a farm field. So I was like, ah, and then I felt it like jerk when it come down. I was like, fuck, that was a wheelie. I'm like, hell yeah.
I mean, it picked them up immediately too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a gangster little spot. We've raced on the road in front of there a few years back. That's probably 7-8 years ago. We used to have a couple of shootouts out there. It's a fun place.
Yeah, I mean, everything in America is just done completely different. I love it there. Like even just, the police guy show up. Hey, you want to come? Like, I love this shit he says.
I got 2 spots y'all can go hit if y'all need some street hits. We're like, that might be a setup, but we'll think about it.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I think he broke his truck there the following day or the day after. Like, I know we were testing the whole week up there, and he oiled it down. But that's what Kevin was just talking about. Broke 2 rear ends.
Oh yeah.
I just couldn't believe how good it was. Even with the bumps. I know you were struggling a little bit, but that's just that big motor. So
yeah, I was trying to get mine was turning left.
yeah.
And which my car's so heavy on the back tires with no weight in it, it's hard to keep the front end down. That's why I don't do front side that much, just because I can't 330 like all these other guys, just because of my weight bias.
That car bites.
I think you picked the tires up 3 times on that one pass.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. It was just like it was going perfect, and then just and then I was like, holy shit! But
yeah, the car's like 54.5% with no weight in it on the rear tire.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Cody Wagner busted his little Ford 88 too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's when he was testing out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the day before.
The day
Wasn't that the day before y'all were leaving?
No, that was the day we were leaving.
Oh yeah. Because he changed them and then come
we
down.
were on the way. I was sending the group text. He was like, "Well,
yeah, those 410s made his car pretty violent."
I told him it was gonna help.
Yeah.
My car, I can't run the 5.3 with 373 in it.
Yeah.
It lugs it down too much. It wants to scream up top.
Yeah.
So
mine does too. I have 373s now. I used to have 410s, so I know what you're saying. I think it was better on the 410s, but with my IRS in the back, I know the one guy said stock and he put LOL. It's legit stock besides Viking coils, but with the 373s, it just helps me plant that tire better with that IRS.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Mine, it slips the converter too much and it slows it down.
Oh.
I have 410s. I'm thinking about putting a 430 in it, or maybe even 456, just to get.
You can get that much RPM on the big end.
Yeah, usually run it out about 8,500, $9,000.
Yeah, with the 530N.
But my converter, it's got a Circle D bolt together, and it's really efficient up top.
I just wonder if you change that gear, if it'll stretch that out a little farther. Where you're hitting limiter before you get to the end.
I don't think it's going to hit limiter.
No. Yeah, if you don't set one, it ain't going to hit it.
I mean, I have some.
That's a good point.
Yeah, if you don't set a rev, it ain't going to hit it.
I don't know boost safety. I do know RPM safety.
Yeah. So I don't have. The joke always is like, if I'm on any sticky track, my car works pretty good. So I have 2 buttons. I have my bump button, which is my scramble button, and I always put like 10. It's a 5.3, so I put 10 or 15 dome on there or whatever. But then the one in my center console is 100 dome, right? So that way I know if I pin the gate shut, I grab the both, and it's going to pin the fucking wastegate shut.
That's fair. That's fair. It has no choice.
It has no choice.
I have 2 scrambles on mine. The first one, the bump button, it's got 10 dome and 100 on a fogger, and then the second one's got another 10 dome. So
Yeah.
that 100 kit, that feels pretty rowdy when it comes on.
Yeah.
I need a-
I was thinking of getting some nitrous, but we'll see.
I haven't needed to fill it up to 200, but Stephen Little says it's pretty awesome when that 200 hits all at once.
I bet.
It's like 50 pounds of boost, 200 shot on top. That's why you hear his car just screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pray while you do it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, if you got the tire planted, it should stay planted
Man,
most
man.
times.
We're
but-
not talking about for the tire. We're talking about for the motor.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. We just
Yeah.
changed them out.
Yeah.
We haven't run out of chassis yet on both of them, but motor, yeah, we just can't keep them together.
Yeah. I mean, you guys do it pretty cheap too. I know his 408 was a good build, but I mean, the other ones.
The 408 was, I got a really good deal from a buddy here in town with it.
Yeah.
It was half build, so nobody really wanted it for a street car. So I bought it and it was really good. I mean, I have like at least 200 or 300 passes on it. And that's
quite a few.
yeah, it's I'm not mad at it at all for losing oil pressure.
Yeah.
It served me well.
I think we raced like 40 weekends
It
last year.
it definitely made me way more money than it cost me. So
And you're not nice to your shit either. Like
no.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Some guys, I still see them being conservative at the racetrack, and they get faster as they go on. You guys just come out all the time. Just
Well, I try to be
swing for it.
conservative, and then I'll tell him, I was like, all right, well, let's just bump it. No, we're swinging for this. All right.
I was like, we got 3 hits to test. I was like, we're making those count.
yeah.
I'm gonna put something I think will go A to B in your stuff first round or first hit. And if it dead sticks it, I'm gonna put a lot more. And if it dead sticks that, you're getting a lot more then. And then we'll just kind of judge it by then.
Oh, yeah. My first wheelie pass in it was one of yours. Oh, yeah. We're going to turn it up a little bit. Sticks it on the back bumper. First street wheelie, like, what, 5th or 6th pass on the truck?
First real pass on the
Yeah.
street.
Well, no, I think we made 2 at DeSoto, and then we came out there.
Trent Road.
I did a burnout, start backing up. He walks out. He's backing the crowd up. I'm like,
I said,
what's
everybody
fixing to
move.
happen?
yeah. Get out of the
said,
way.
Get out of the way. And he's sitting there looking at me like, what do you know that I don't? I was like, I know what tune-up I put in.
I
It's
was
probably
like-
going to stand up.
I said, he didn't turn it up a little. I let go of the button, and it immediately went straight up.
Yeah. He was, his back rocker was touching the ground
One pinch weld
yeah.
touched the back.
What,
Surprise.
At least by
Yeah.
the 60 foot.
Yeah,
It
it's
was pretty
awesome.
hilarious.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
It was a good picture though.
That was a damn good picture.
I need to get one of them pictures, just one, without breaking anything.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is not breaking anything.
Yeah.
Mine's
know,
so
we were-
short, it
We were
comes down.
talking when we were in New Orleans there, and one thing I always remember about your truck is dig or die when the trans brake was failing.
Oh my
And
god!
Jelly and somebody made that freaking video and Jelly
can't-
Rose buddy, and he's like, "What was that video?" It's the big guy, and he's like,
The guy in the like Toyota truck that's like bouncing
yeah,
his stomach off the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I tested
Oh,
it
yeah.
like 4 times before that too. I was like, no, it's good. I get up there, it bumps once. I slam on the brakes, and then while it's bumping, it's turning right too. So
yeah.
as soon as I let go of the button, like it was ruined. I had already lost, but then ended up driving around the guy. That one hurt. I wanted redemption this year, which luckily I got some.
Yeah. This year was weird. I mean, I don't know about you, but I think last year the track was, I wouldn't say it was better. I mean, if you had your shit together, it was still good. But for me, I mean, I guess it could be my tires, but I didn't do as well as I did last year.
It didn't
So-
seem like the 60 foot was the same.
Yeah.
Like, usually mine dead sticks anywhere it goes. And I mean, even leaving on 3 or 4 pounds, like it was just roasting the tires.
I felt like the back half was a little better, but I've only raced there twice.
Yeah.
So I can't say that for sure.
But that's how we are. Like last year
Mm-hmm.
was our first year too, or well, I guess that'd be 2 years ago now. but-
Yeah, the year
Yeah.
before last was our first year, and I didn't have traction on my car. I didn't have nothing, and we just it was one of those. I'm guessing this tune up, and it did pretty good. It ran considerably faster this year but
Mhm.
we had that blow-off valve feed line come off during the run, so I lost most of my boost.
It only made like 26 pounds, and it had like what 60.
Oh, because it was pushing it open manually.
Yep.
Yeah, the line, I
Yeah.
guess, it just vibrated off.
I will. The turbo did make 26 pounds with the blow-off valve wide open.
That's
But
yeah.
that wasn't quite, I was running them down, but it wasn't quite enough.
I bet you that turbo was making more. It just couldn't actually make more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it
It
was.
was
It wasn't
going out
making
the
it to the
pipe.
intake.
Yeah. That's something I learned this year. Going to, I went to Mid America Customs and had my shit on the hub dyno, and just I was going around with different tuners that I knew and just trying to pick up on some shit that they knew, and maybe work together. And when we went to Capizzi's dyno, that's where I figured out I had, with my old intercooler, I had 20 psi a drop. So my car always sounded really crazy. That's because the turbo was making 50 pounds of boost or 52 pounds of boost, but it was really only seeing 32 at the engine. That's how much drop there was across the intercooler. So
Yeah, we run into that a lot here in the shop with just blower cars.
yeah.
Well, we had a fifth gen Camaro it's fifth gen Camaro the other day, and had a torque storm with a small pulley and everything. It made 2 pounds of boost. It had a brand new intercooler and everything. I'm like, there's no way. And come to find out, the dang intercooler
just wasn't efficient.
it wouldn't flow it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I thought about trying one of those E-gates, but they're kind of pricey.
No, okay. So there's a couple things that make me nervous with those. So something I've learned, having turbo speed and all this and monitoring the compressor map and everything, with an E-gate and controlling the boost like that, your turbo's at full speed all the time, maybe even more. That is not good. It's going to take one time that a turbo comes apart and kills somebody. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen a turbo come apart. You know how Precision's got them ballistic blankets and all that shit on the front and back? Like, I feel like if you have an E-gate, you should have at least that on the front side and the back side. But also, I don't know if you've ever seen the crosshair bolts people put in the exhaust. There was a dyno. I can't remember who it was. They were dynoing a car, and basically that's what happened. They were overspinning the turbo. They did 5 or 6 pulls. Turbo come, who knows how many before that, right? Like on the street and all that stuff. Turbo come apart. That turbo come through the housing, up through the roof, and landed like, way over on the street. Like went through a steel roof, steel, and it was gone. Like imagine that come through the firewall and hit you or hit someone standing at the crowd. Yeah. That's what makes me nervous.
Oh, so you're talking about using it on the actual charge pipe?
Yeah, that's what a lot of guys are doing now. They're putting them on the charge
kind of like a blower, car. You pull it down and then control the boost with the wastegate.
I guarantee that they're overspinning their turbo because it's just on all the time. It's 100%, right? So you're just bleeding off the air, and the more air you bleed off, the more your turbo is going to make because it has to overcome whatever it's bleeding off too. I think, like, that's just my theory, but. Happens all the time in the diesel world, I guess, here.
Yeah. We work on a bunch of diesels, and I've spit some turbines out the exhaust. Come through the downpipe and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put me in a standard shift Duramax, and I'll show you what a turbine looks like out of the turbo.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, look, there's Nick right there. So this guy made me put a turbo speed sensor on the turbo, and honestly, it was the coolest thing ever. Having that data, you can see that's sort of where I figured out that my intercooler wasn't doing his job, because you would see it come up and it hit like 5,000 RPM when the turbo was coming on. It hit 55. As soon as it hit 55, it just went straight up to 95,000 RPM. Whoosh, right to the end, because it's trying to push through that intercooler.
Oh, wow.
Causing a restriction. So at first we didn't know what it was. And then we were kind of looking at the data, and we're like, man, it's got to be the intercooler. So we put pressure gauge in the hot side of the intercooler, and then monitor the other side and pre and post. And 20 pounds of pressure drop, 20 pounds of boost drop.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
You making any major changes this year?
For this year,
Or?
I think I'm going to take the weight out and restart now that I've restarted the tune up.
Yeah, you
So
said that helped everything, didn't it?
I think sometimes we go down the rabbit hole. We're like, okay, I need to control the tire. I need to do this. I need to pull boost. I need to leave on more RPM. And then you just get to a point. Like, I'm not that good at recording my data at the moment. Like, you guys are probably a little better at knowing exactly what the car's going to do and where and why. Right. And a lot of people are like that. But me, I'm still learning that part. So
mine's hard because I don't have any data. I still got just a Terminator in it, but
yeah, mine's still like I change so much shit all the time that the data, becomes useless.
Yeah,
and then
you
I'm
start
still
fighting yourself.
Yeah, fighting itself, and then I'm trying to overcorrect it with more tuning and this and that, and so I just said, "Fuck it, let's zero everything out." And literally, I mean, it's changed the car. I haven't raced it since we've been to the pad, but I mean, the hit at the 5 was really good. I was super impressed with that, even with the wheel speed. I had almost 40% slip by the end of the track there. I thought he was going to come around me, but clearly botched the pass with Tommy.
Well,
as soon as I knew it was Tommy, I had my laptop with me. And it was like this.
Well, didn't you say
you
like
gotta race the road?
Yeah, I know. I was so tired, man. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, and then we went and raced before that, like in between waiting for everything.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We could drive. We drove an hour and a half, raced, and then drove an hour and a half back, and then raced again.
That was an interesting 2 days. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm so glad we took the RV though. We could
100%.
We were just hanging out and relaxing and taking naps when we needed to. And
oh yeah, all these fuckers were sleeping when when you met me at the gas station there. I peeked my head and I'm like, what the hell? They're all snoozing.
Yeah, the one guy that needs to be rested to race, everybody else is sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm driving the RV.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty good track too. Slow, but pretty good track.
Yeah, the I used to be able to turn that motor down a little bit more, but this time when I put it together with all the new bearings, I had to put a new camshaft in it, and I put the exact same camshaft. It's just got an off-the-shelf Summit Stage 5.5 turbo cam, but I retarded the timing a little bit on the camshaft, and it made a huge difference on the motor. Yeah. And man, I think I was leaving on gate with 15 or 17 degrees pulled out there, and usually it would just go straight down, and it just was knocking the tires off, and I was like, what is going on here? But that was the first time with it set up exactly like that on a bad surface.
It was cold. It was cold too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's interesting that we were there for a race. We left that race and raced another race and still made it back for first round.
Yeah.
Well, because we were so far back, we're like, we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
You were what, 45th?
Yeah, I was the last pair.
Yeah.
Last pair, first round.
I mean, we probably could have brought 20 cars with us and still made that race happen at the pad too.
Oh yeah. For sure.
We should have.
I mean, we made it back, so everybody else could have made it back.
Yeah.
So we did that. We go-karted in between.
Shelton was going pretty slow back there.
That's fair.
He's like, where are y'all at? I'm like, we're already here. How did we beat you in an RV?
Yeah. Sheldon's a good kid. I had a lot of fun down there. We're brothers. So the moment we wake up, we're chirping each other. It's just all day long.
Every race we're talking shit.
Yeah.
Me and him have raced for you daddies a few times. He won them. I got him back before he used them.
You want him back before he used them.
Oh yeah, he's like, no, I'm gonna save it for a good time. I said, you wait too long, I'm gonna get that motherfucker back from you. And sure enough, the night I drove his car, he betted on, well, this is my daddy, and then Cody's his daddy. I was like, I bet I'm gonna take your daddy out this round. He said, nah, we'll bet you daddy on it. I said, okay. Well, he had ran before us, so he was at the big end by the time we got done. So me and Cody run, outran him, and I shut the car off at the end and rolled to the end. Sheldon just staring at me. I just kind of got a little further down in the seat, stared at him for a second.
That motherfucker will bet anything at any time. I swear.
Anything. You just gotta get him worked up a little bit.
Oh yeah. He would honestly, I don't know. I watched him play dice. I watched him bet races. I watched him bet like just constant betting. And I'm like, man, I don't know how you do it. He'd lose $800 the one day, and then the next day he win friggin' $1,500. And I'm like, man, I can't play with my emotions like that.
No. Same.
So Louisiana's a good time, man. I'd go back there anytime.
Yeah.
It's different. The environment is definitely different around here. It's more of a grudge race mentality, I would say.
Yeah, they like grudge racing around here. You go to Texas or Oklahoma or something, they'll do the pot races that we like. Most everybody around here, they want to grudge race, as you've seen, and then they want to pick and choose on who they race, obviously. So we don't get a lot of racing locally, which it's understood, but I have, the snow day that we had, that's the most fun I've had in a while because we were racing back to back. I was racing my diesel truck, my daily driver, so much I had to let the transmission cool down, and it was like 16 degrees outside. So
Fahrenheit, 16 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got lots of Canadians on here.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
It's Bones and Quagmire are just a different caliber of car than what usually runs around here. So, I mean, we've got a couple of street cars we're gonna start on here pretty soon, just to play around with, maybe do like some hard tire stuff or daily driver, maybe drag week or something like that.
Yeah,
we've got it coming close. So,
yeah, race week is definitely coming through real close through all the local tracks around here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna try. I don't know if I can make him pass that tech for that, but we may just like enter in a daily class on my Turbo Tahoe or something like that.
Why don't you bring the jet truck?
Oh god, we've still got some figuring out to do.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's hard as hell to find information on that stuff.
Hey, did you see the one I tagged you in?
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't like how you sit beside it.
Yeah, well, that was a small block one too. You got a big block.
That was only about an hour from me here in Canada.
We'll go grab it.
No, I
Look,
don't even know who would be crazy enough to build something like that around here.
The guy that has that?
yeah, I mean it's hard to build. Just put
I
some
know.
jet fuel in it and whatever tire you want to run on.
What was it again? It was the Oldsmobile, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it was
Opal.
No, it was a Commodore.
That's right.
Was
That's right.
Yeah, it was, or no, Holden. Sorry. No, the jet truck's gonna come. We got some projects we got to clear out around the shop before we can bring it back here. It takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
I bet it does.
He's worried about finding someone that knows how to make it work.
I mean,
I'm gonna figure it out. I'm not worried about finding someone else. I figured out that the last time we tried to crank it, you have to crank it on gas. You have to fire it up, get the fire going on gasoline, and then you swap it over to jet fuel or diesel. And so that's our next step. And once we get it fired up and get some thrust in it, then I'm going to be gung ho. We're putting a 5.3 in the front of it. We're making it front wheel drive so you can drive it around wherever you want. And like the back, I got a camper shell for it and everything, and a new bed. And so we can pull up to a red light and literally hit some electric actuators and open all the airflow areas up
incognito
and crank the jet engine up and
roast everybody behind you.
Yeah.
See, here's my biggest concern with it though, is there's a very fine line between a jet and a rocket.
Well, okay. It would be a jet with Bobby in it, and it'd be a rocket with you in it.
It's fair.
Well, no, I think he's meaning a rocket's not controllable, and a jet is.
Yeah, a rocket's just going wherever it's going.
Well, that's why the main fuel line's going to be right beside you, so you can shut it off.
I don't think the weight difference is going to matter in that thing.
No, it's definitely not.
10,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's gonna be fun. It's really, we know that we're gonna be able to probably take it to one race, maybe two, and then after that they're gonna be like, no. It's either a safety issue or
it's definitely a safety issue.
Definitely a unfair advantage. So we're just gonna make it to have fun with.
I'd hate to be the fucker standing behind it at the starting line.
They're not going to.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
clear a starting line. There's nothing better.
Just the air coming out of it from it, the starter spinning it almost knocked him down.
Which is not saying a lot, but
Yeah.
That's just the starter spinning it.
That's crazy.
It sounds like death. It really does. Like even just on the starter.
If death has a sound, this is how it sounds.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. You figured out how to get it fired up.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about that.
We don't either. But I mean, it's all.
Where did you even buy that?
There was a guy that had it posted on Facebook Marketplace, and I think I kept an eye on it for like 3 years, and I just slowly talked him down more and more and more. And I think he started wanting 30 grand for it. And I got him all the way down. By the time I bought it and loaded on the trailer, I gave him like 7 grand for it.
Crazy.
It was too cheap.
To me, that's very cheap.
Yes, yeah. He showed me where he paid 30 grand for just the jet engine. It was actually a brand, like a reman unit that they use to test turbos for big ship engines.
Oh, okay.
So they would hook turbos up to the output of it and test the turbos with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Those big ass turbos.
Yeah. Yeah. So
It's out of like a 70 something Shooting Star, I think it was called. Or like what
it's in
use
several different airplanes, but it's it's known to just take jet fuel and make it into noise. Apparently they're real noisy, which that's kind of what you want out of a jet engine. Why else are you going to have one?
That's right. I just want one for that thrust at the light.
Oh, the afterburner.
When you're getting ready to take off. What do they call that?
So we're gonna have to.
You ever see the Hellfire trucks?
No.
I'm trying to think. No.
Something happened there, but like the Hellfire trucks when they're firing right at the line there, what do they call that?
Oh, they're hitting the afterburner.
Yeah.
That way it pulses, it shoots a whole bunch of fuel in it right at one time. Yeah, we're actually gonna get with our boys at Nitrous Express, and we're gonna probably put however many cylinders it has, we're gonna put Nitrous Express solenoid on each one and bump a bunch of fuel through it right there.
I think it's got like 12 or 16 individual like
combustion chambers. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
You're gonna have to call that thing the black hole, because that's where you're going.
I think we're
Freedom.
Freedom 1, but
like dumb, like freedom.
DUMB.
Yeah.
It's such a bad idea, but somebody's gonna do it. So.
Yeah.
But this is okay. If there is a story about America, it's right there. You can buy a fucking jet engine and throw it in what is it in?
It's a 93 K30 or C3500.
Yeah.
With a full set of billet specialties to go on it too.
Yeah.
Came with the truck.
Fuck. That's awesome.
Yeah, you don't need a license, nothing. You need a trailer and cash, and you can go buy a jet truck.
Yeah,
or if you're by him, you can go buy a jet car.
That's true. You still need to go get that.
I don't need to get anything else.
I didn't say you. I said him. It's next to him.
No, I don't. I don't need none of that shit. You know what I need to do is build a small tire car.
This is true.
Which was probably in the works. We'll just put it at that.
You found something.
Yeah, so I'm not a stupid man, and we develop contacts in this industry. You guys do, like Nitrous Express. You work with a lot of people. I'm the same way. I got 4 or 5 guys that I work with constantly, and we try to better their products. And I just kind of said, the amount of shit that I've learned with a car that shouldn't be doing what it's doing. Why don't we partner up and build a small tire car?
Yeah.
Like specific. I'm going to basically do it like how Bobby has his car. One fucking window, Mustang front end, everything else gone.
Something you don't really care about.
Yeah, something I literally don't care about.
Yeah.
Change the oil in the engine because I care about the engine, and that's, that's about it. So
I mean, it's
I
a
think-
tool at the end of the day.
I think that's what we're gonna do. It's in the planning stages. I have a shell, well, a roller that's caged, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Try not to get my hopes up. We gotta make sure it works first, and that's about it. And then I'll keep my car for as much street as I can, and yeah, keep racing street and small tire.
You're gonna get wore out.
Yeah.
So my one buddy is, I'm gonna try and teach my one buddy to drive the small tire car. Like, he's a good driver. He does a lot. We've done a lot of stupid shit. We've been friends since, very, very young. I don't think he's been in a car that's able to go that fast before, but I'm gonna throw him in there and surprise.
Hey, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah.
Same thing I do to all my customers. I just had one get a revision yesterday, and he texted me back. I didn't even say anything. I just sent one back. I said, try this. Text me back. He's like, you didn't fucking tell me you turned the boost up. I'm like, surprise.
I didn't tell you I didn't turn it down either.
Yeah.
We're trying to go faster here. Why are we gonna not turn it up?
Yeah. So, I think it'll be good for him too. He's always wanted to get into a car, and I mean, you know how it is. It's hard these days, especially if you got a family or something. Like, I work 20 hours a day. I'm sure you guys work lots, and you're always out testing, and you do what you need to do to get your car together. Some people don't get that. So
I think this last 2 weeks is the slowest weeks of racing we've had in the last year or two.
Yeah, and that's literally just because we don't have anything running right now.
Yeah.
At all.
All the race cars are broke. What do we do?
There's not many weekends where, either we're not working on them or racing.
That is how Zach learned.
Yeah, that's exactly how I learned.
So when he wrecked it, it had a 480 in it. When I first built the car, it had a 480. And he launched in first gear. It was still electronically controlled. So it launched, it spun the tires.
grab gear.
It clicked second. It spun the tires more. I said, let off. I'm sitting there in my head, let off. It clicked third gear, and he was already out there, and I saw it turn. I went, oh no.
See,
too much wheel speed.
Yeah, see, you were saying let off, and I was in there. I got it.
Yeah, I ain't got it.
He thought he was driving our 650
Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo back there, G-body shuffling, and that's not it. My car doesn't give you no warning if it's going to turn.
Well, and the steering ratio in his car is real, like, you have to turn it a lot for it to do anything. And wasn't used to that either. But, I mean, that was by far the fastest car I had jumped in up to that point. I had a couple quick cars before that, but nothing that caliber. Yeah, it's definitely a learning experience, but it's one of those things you find out either you have it or you don't.
And I will tell you, when he races my car versus me racing the car, we have to change the tune-up considerably.
A lot.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Because
the weight makes a big difference.
Yeah, we can't put near as much on the big end with him as we can with me, just because the weight difference. The car doesn't stay planted up top with him, so it gets a little sketchy up top.
But it's fast.
Just the way we like it.
Yeah,
but it's fast.
He gets mad every time he races it because he looks at the draggy. He's like, "Why does it run that so easy?"
I'll just look down and be like, "All right, well, that wasn't what I expected." Yeah, it's effortless in his car. It's real aggravating.
Yeah.
They
say smooth is fast, right? Like when it feels slow, it's fast.
It is, yeah. Whereas mine's like a ball of violence driving it, just because it's so short. It's like driving a go-kart. If you don't catch it when it starts stepping out, you're going to be in trouble.
Speaking of fucking go-karts.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I haven't heard from this guy. I think he's going to go beat our time by 9 seconds.
I'm down anytime in a go-kart.
I'd literally go take a loan from the bank just to do that bet.
I was watching I didn't say anything in the group chat, but I was watching. I was like, "Oh, this dude goes there. I'm going back there. Y'all go race. I'm going back there to get some money."
Yeah, man, we were driving our asses off. Those things were not sticking to the floor.
No, that impossible. I can see how that's a better business move for them to do that, because it probably decreases the wear on the tires and everything. But man, that made it tricky racing on that stuff.
Especially when they would they turn them up like mid corner, and then next thing you know, you're spinning out.
Yeah, and like if you turned, you had to be very gentle on the wheel, but you would also have to throw it enough into the turn where you could be gentle on the wheel, and you were brake and gas at the same time to keep the cart straight around the corners.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, you had a lag when you hit the brake, and you'd have to mat it before you actually needed to.
And it would just throw you into a huge drift. But did you guys catch on to what I was doing when me and Shelton were going?
What?
I was letting air out of my tires.
Oh yeah, didn't they say something to you?
Yeah, they caught me after the second time I did it. But yeah, I let a bunch of air out of the tires. It seemed to help.
Oh, I bet it did. Yeah, they look like they had them pumped up pretty good.
You still beat me though. You still won $20.
I was trying to get a pool going. Nobody would get in the pool.
It's really hard to overcome his weight advantage when you put on something that's power limited like that.
Yeah.
We go to Dallas Karting Complex a lot, and it's real frustrating. And all I can do is be a very good defensive driver. I'm good at blocking.
I smashed him.
Oh, yeah.
Did he tell you that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I hit you so hard, bro. I almost blacked out. I'm going to say that. It hit me hard. Like
my knees clapped together. They were bruised.
Oh, yeah. You were crying about that for a couple of days.
I was. I had to walk on it. That shit sucked.
I was flying around that corner, and was it Paris? Paris, kind of pushed you into the wall, but I was already committed to that corner at full speed.
Yeah,
she just plowed you.
Yeah, I think she came in and kind of spun a little bit. So then I slowed down and spun sideways, looked over, and next thing I know, I see you just, hi.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't say I was blacking out, but when you hit something really hard and you get that weird feeling in your head, you're like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened.
It definitely rocked me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, I'm 230 pounds too, right? So you had the cart plus me.
Yeah.
I don't think my weight helped that much there, just because how slick it was.
No,
Man,
I think
that was crazy.
I think on those electric carts, other than the acceleration, I think the top speed, I think they regulated the speed, not the power. So
True.
I think we were able to go us bigger guys were actually able to go the same speed as the little guys. We just had a little bit less acceleration.
Well, y'all could hook. Yeah. It was no prep. Y'all were a little heavier.
It was worse than no. It was like Decker Boys the first time they went there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that real sketchy one in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never been there?
No.
It's not like that anymore, is it?
No, it's not that bad, but I'm going to tell you. So I didn't have a parachute on my car the time that I went. And this is when I was first touching, 35, 38 pounds of boost, trying to get after it. And when I come over that hill because the track kind of goes a little bit uphill and then it crests the hill and then you're on D-cell on the other side. Mm. When I come over that hill, well, they paved the entrance to the place right through the shutdown. So when you come over, if you don't slow down enough, man, you smash that cross section and just smash. And then you're going off into the grass.
Oh, Jesus.
So yeah, it's fun. I love the sketchier the track, the better for me. I don't care. Same. Everybody says, oh, I don't want to do this. And, street racing's scary. That's not why I'm there. I'm there for the rush.
I prefer a really sketchy road or a narrow road or anything over a moderate track. Yeah. Every track I've ever been on, if it's halfway moderate, you'll just be going down it and it'll just turn at the big end. On the street, it's just equally shitty the whole way.
Yeah. You got to drive it. I like driving. So
same.
That's I don't know if you guys got into side-by-sides at all, but I got into that, a couple years ago. I got an X3 and got it all tuned up and shit. And man, that thing, if I would have had that thing 10 years ago, I would not be into cars.
Mm.
I don't like being that cold. It's too cold for me.
Yeah.
Man.
I have a huge Mega that it's on 66s. We go mud riding and stuff on.
Yeah.
And the last ride that we took it to, he didn't even come because it was supposed to be 20 degrees.
No.
And he said, no, I'm not doing it. So me and Corey took it and we actually flipped it over in the middle of a lake.
Oh my.
No,
And when
a lake.
in a lake. And when I tell you we got out of it so fast as it was going over, we didn't get wet until we had to jump in the water to swim out.
See, if I would have went, I'd have had hypothermia. No,
It was bad. But we're actually about to start working on it on some of our free time. We're going to put an LS motor in it.
did you?
Oh yeah.
okay.
There's a couple of them out there already.
Yeah, we're going to do that. It's already got a reverse rotation transfer case. I've already got all the
Okay.
Holley stuff to put in there. I've got an
Sweet.
extra LC9 to put in there. So we're going to put that in there and just have some fun with it. It's kind of ridiculously big, but it's a lot of fun. You know,
Yep. Mine's not. Mine's made to just, go
like
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have a Turbo Razor 4, but I prefer the big mud riding stuff.
the mud riding is definitely fun. We just don't have that here.
Yeah.
So like we have muddy trails, and mine will go through the muddy trails. Like obviously I can't go through the big ass puddles, but I got a couple buddies that got snow cross tracks. Like they built race tracks for the kids for the snowmobiles, but in the summertime, as long as I cut the grass or whatever, we can go out there and ride and rip around, hit jumps, and that's what I like to do. But the funnest time to take it out is when it's snowing.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get cold.
Yeah.
Especially a blizzard.
Have you ever done any of that the ice drag racing?
No, and I really want to. So I have an extra set of tires, and I'm going to stud them.
Yeah. I want to do that.
I'm definitely down. I'd honestly do it in a car. If we can find a spot.
I want to do it in my car.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to stud tires for the side-by-side and go ice racing, but I don't think we have a big enough lake with ice where I live for cars, but it'd be fun.
I don't know exactly where they do it up north, but I see videos of them doing all the time, and they're going pretty fast.
Yeah,
they're going pretty fast.
Yeah.
Well, you see Buddy with the butt hurt bar on the back, right?
Yeah.
He's that thing was rolling. I mean, what's to say you can't just flood, 660 feet of ice with a hose or something, and, get a Zamboni like a hockey rink.
Yeah.
And
we don't get it down here enough.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. Yeah. We want to get back to kind of doing some wilder stuff with the car, because last year we've been pretty focused on serious small tire racing with them. But like when he had the rat rod, we did
everything
stupid stuff.
Yeah, the rat rod, we took it. We mounted a bench seat out of the back of a K5 Blazer.
So imagine Joey's butthurt bar, but with a seat at the end of it, and 2 or 3 idiots sitting on it.
We rode around Mardi Gras with people hanging off the back of it, launching it, doing wheelies, just all kinds of fun stuff. Pulling out, my tractor got stuck at a buddy's yard, and we pulled it out with it.
Melted the motor down doing that.
Yeah, melted the motor because the meth wasn't spraying. It was out from...
blame the meth.
Yeah, it was a meth.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just, just fun shit. And we're about to get back to that. And that's what we kind of decided after these last few races we had scheduled. We were going to get back to some of the fun, ridiculous type stuff we used to do.
Are you going to video it more?
Yes. We actually video almost everything. It's just someone's a little slow on getting it edited and out.
It's hard.
Yeah, I was hoping to see some shit on my car, man.
I have almost all of it done.
Okay.
But we usually have between like an hour and a half to 4 hours of footage to go through, and cutting it down and it being entertaining. It's hard from our point of view, just because we're usually so busy with the cars, you forget to film a lot of the stuff, or you just flat out don't have time to film.
And you're not yourself all the time either when you're that busy either.
No, because you're trying to focus on what you're doing, because it takes a lot of work upkeeping these cars.
I can be an idiot and I can be a dumbass and do all that shit, but I would love to video it, but I have zero interest in editing and doing all that other stuff.
And that's the hard part. The editing is what takes the most amount of time.
But it makes or breaks your videos too.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I don't like putting out something that I don't feel is done. And sometimes if you're missing a few little things, it ruins it.
I told him, I was like, just throw it together, stick it out there. It's better than nothing being out there.
Can't do it.
I'm like, don't even just make it raw and just like
Unedited.
just stick it out there. It's better than nothing on there.
Yeah.
And he just won't do it. So I'm gonna steal the computer one day and do it.
No, it's not.
Just upload it.
The YouTube is just gonna get flooded one weekend. As fast as it'll load on there, it's gonna get put on there. And there's gonna be some people are gonna see some dumb shit from over the years because we got a lot of stuff from probably the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff from the Rat Rod that we have that never even got put out.
Well,
slacking.
Couldn't put it out at that time. A lot of it goes into like shorts on, Facebook and it's
okay.
Because that's where our biggest following really is. And we at least keep everything active to where we're pretty up to date on what we're doing with stuff. Yeah, the big videos, they're told.
You ever sit back and think about like just all this shit and like, the internet, and you said something like following, like it's a weird word to like have followers, but like
if you said it
I sit here, the amount of shit that I get tagged in and the amount of mess, like just me, right? Like I'm just a kid. I live in a town of 700 people. If you come to my house, we don't go nowhere. I'm a hermit. We'll go to the, the trails and stuff, but I don't go into town. I don't go to the grocery store. I'm never in public, and I deal with so many people on the internet. It just boggles my mind that we could talk to this many people. And like, maybe 20 years ago in high school, I would say, hey, I probably know 200 people that I've talked to, right? Throughout high school and all that stuff. You probably know 200 people that you interacted with. You remember their names. Right. Now it's like, I go through sometimes all the unread stuff and I'm like, man, I haven't talked to him in 2 years. And it's like, now you're in thousands of people that I remember their names. I remember the conversations we had. And I don't know. It's crazy being in this position. I'm sure you've thought about it and thought the same thing, It's
pretty surreal when you go, 15 hours away or 20 hours away and people rush to the trailer and like, oh, we follow you. We love it. This and that. And we're like that hits
crazy.
home. You're like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally just doing what we love to do. Like we just happen to put it on the internet. People seem to like it.
Yeah. It's, I would say it's that. I don't know how old you are. Bobby's probably my age, right? But
I'm 36.
Yeah, so I'm 38. It was a little different when we were in high school. It was nothing like it is.
Yes,
now.
We had just started getting cell phones and stuff like that, and
we were still sitting on green boxes back then.
Yeah,
that's where you
with our buddies. Yeah, but I sometimes I drive a lot by myself, especially when I'm traveling to the races, because obviously my friends can't just leave their jobs and come with me. Yeah. I'm fortunate enough that I just bring my laptop with me and I can work anywhere. But that gives you a lot of time to think. And sometimes it's like, holy fuck, I can't believe I'm doing this shit.
Hey, but it can get you out of a pinch. Like that network that, a lot of us have built up, like, we've broken parts out of town and just, hey, we need, like the intake lid when you blew it off in Dallas.
Yeah, we found an intake lid for a high ram in the middle of Dallas from a Facebook follower. He brought it to us to the hotel at 3 a.m. in the morning. That way
he was probably so pumped to give you that too.
Oh, dude,
that way we could race at 5 a.m. on a Sunday service.
Yeah,
so it was awesome, and that's when I found out they had 24-hour AutoZones over there.
Yeah, we parked in front of an AutoZone and just went to
town.
They have
24-hour parts stores like in the bigger cities.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yeah. In the decent parts of town. In the bad part of town, that sucker was locked up.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
We went to a place called Belt Buckle or something, Tennessee. I've been to a lot of Harbor Freights, okay? This little town had the biggest and cleanest Harbor Freight I've ever seen, and one person inside. That was it.
That was our main attraction.
Yeah. And I'm like, I walked in and I looked at the guy, he looked at me, I'm like, I've never seen a Harbor Freight empty before. This is weird.
Yeah. But man, they'll get you out of a pinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've parked in front of them many a times to fix something.
So I was a little disappointed in the, I would say August. When was the Ohio race uncaged? Do you remember? I think it was August, wasn't it?
Sounds right.
Yeah. So, anyways, come down in August. I had to get tires. Having a ton of fucking problems with my car. I don't like 2 weeks before that, I blew my converter up on the dyno. I must have stripped or over tightened the bolts. And when it hit 8,500 RPM and it let off, the converter come apart. And shot fluid everywhere and caught fire and all this other shit. So sent it to my guy. He's like, I've been doing this a long ass time. He's like, I have never seen this happen. So I'm like, listen, I want to test your parts. I said, if it can be broken, I'm going to break it. If it can't be broken, I'm still going to break it. So anyways, go to Jags, get all the stuff. And I asked the guy at Jags, I says, hey, do you mind if I pull my car out of the trailer? Because I was running late, had to get tires changed. Said, can I work on my car in the parking lot? He says, no. I'm like, well, Summit lets you. He's like, we'll go to Summit then.
Oh,
I'm
damn.
like, oh. I'm like, okay. So I'm like fucking looking for Summit. And of course, it's too far away, right? So I'm like, fuck it. We find this tire shop down this little dead-end cul-de-sac, pull the trailer around. The mechanics come out. I back the car out. We put it on the freaking race ramps. We pulled the transmission while they did the tires, put the converter in, put the car back in the box, and left. Went right to the race.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
I told you
they were
couldn't
all
work on it. Damn.
What's that?
Told you couldn't work on it. Damn.
Yeah, he said no. And I said, well, Summit let. Yeah, he said go to Summit. I'm like, oh, he must have been having a bad day.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's
it was somewhere in Ohio. Well, wherever Jags is. I think it's Cincinnati, isn't it? Close to there. I don't know. I can't
one
remember.
place we haven't been to.
Yeah.
I think really the only thing we didn't get to we wanted to try last year was probably Warren Woods.
Coming this year?
We may for the experience. I know my car can't compete out there, but it is what it is.
It's definitely a trip.
Yeah.
Like just the whole, like the starting line is crazy. I mean, they're all crazy, but this one's extra crazy.
Yeah.
The track itself really wasn't that bad. I didn't find it. I found it a little bumpy, but my car really doesn't care about bumps. Coming back down the pit road or whatever, and you got to drive through the whole crowd, that's wild.
What do you think is wilder, that or like coming up to New Orleans on the pad?
The way the crowd makes you feel at War in the Woods when you're driving back after a round, man, there's literally 2,000-3,000 people standing there, and you're driving through them all, and they're all trying to give you high five, and they're yeah, you know what I mean? Like just absolute pick me up when you're coming back. Even if you lost, you're like, fuck yeah, that was a good rip.
Yeah.
But I mean, the pad, that experience, I mean, everybody needs to try it because I think we got the full thing that time because we had so many cop interruptions and we went into this town and it was all the freaking takeover kids hanging out in the parking lot, you know what I mean, on the other side there. And we were in the back and you're hearing all the machine guns and pistols and like, man,
there's no other place like it.
We've been there on smaller races and literally you get there, you do the driver's meeting and you're there until you're done.
Yeah.
There's the cops never come, and if they do, they just literally drive through and tell everybody to get out of the middle of the road.
So we got the first two pairs done. I was the second, so I was the fourth pair. I was supposed to be the fifth pair, but something got screwed up and we had to move everybody up a pair, right? And so we got shut down the first time, and I already had my car unloaded, and as I was pulling it up before the cops showed up the first time, I noticed I didn't have third gear. I'm like, what the fuck? Well, remember Shelton drove my car the day before? Well, I think when he slammed it into freaking neutral or whatever, when he was doing the burnout, I think it offset the cable or something, and I didn't check it.
Threw the
Oh.
adjustment
then-
off on it. Yep.
Yeah, so then we got shut down. I'm like, perfect. So we go over. I unload the car. I was on the street, where you turn to go into the truck stop. I was stayed on the street. I backed the car out. I'm under the car, and I see this undercover going like half a mile an hour, just looking right. My feet are sticking out in front of the car. I'm like, oh, fuck. I pulled my race car out, and they're all coming here. So I fixed that real quick, and I throw it in the box. He left, and then he left. Another cop came and he said, if you guys don't want to end up in the SWAT vans or whatever they were talking about, you better get out of here. So I'm like, well, I'm leaving. So we left. I seen Ryan Mitchell and his missus down by NASA where we did the 5. And we parked down there for probably 2 hours, Shelton and all of us. And there's all these kids on dirt bikes, like little 50s and 125s, no helmets, ripping around. And they're like, hey, you can race at the 5. There's nobody around there. They're like, you can race at the 5. I'm like, no, they put those things up. That's why we can't race there. They're like, nah, somebody cut them all down.
Mm-hmm.
So then I texted Happy and texted BJ. I said, hey, if we need a place to race, the 5 is where it's at. And yeah, we ended up doing a pull there and at the pad. I was super pumped about that.
Yeah, so you
Never
got to
thought-
make it both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 5's good.
Yeah.
I've made one hit there, and it's spicy right there.
It's
I feel like it's better. I feel like it's better than the pad just because it's smoother.
Yeah.
I think so. The shutdown was a little weird because they still had those little platforms that those fucking things were sitting on. So I was like trying to keep them in the middle of the car while it was shutting down.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool. I made a hit at NASA and didn't get arrested. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Allegedly.
there.
That's
Allegedly.
a legendary. That's an awesome picture. Every time I get there, in the cars there, I'll pull to the side to where I can get a picture of the car and the NASA sign and the road all together.
Yeah.
Hey, last time we were there, we about got plowed down by 18-wheeler.
Oh yeah, he did.
He
not
wasn't
care.
slowing down. He was hammering on it and shifting gears.
He did not care.
No, there was
No.
a bunch of people, and like eventually you just heard whoop whoop. Look back. I mean, if somebody would have moved an inch, they would get smoked.
Probably thought he was going to get all his DVD players stolen.
Oh yeah, no, he was
Man.
definitely by
Fast
the
and
load.
the Furious. Yeah.
It was different.
Yeah. You want to know something else that you need to experience at War in the Woods is the pulled pork nachos and the fucking lemonade.
Hey, I don't think anything can top that burger I had at the pad.
Yeah.
Like I've thought about just driving back down there just to get another one.
We'll
I'm not
see. We'll see. I'll buy you some pulled pork nachos at War in the Woods, and we'll do a little.
The tacos at Yellow Belly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're good too. Someone
Yeah.
recommended that, and we got them, and they were good.
That's a fun place.
The only thing with the lemonade at War in the Woods is you need to ask for a quarter sugar, because if you don't, the whole fucking cup is sugar.
Oh shit!
That's good lemonade then.
Sounds like everything
Not-
down here.
Yeah.
Not when you chew on the sugar. Like,
That's how our sweet tea is down here. Like it's diabetes in a cup.
I know. I don't drink no sweet tea down that way. I don't know. Have you ever had a Canadian iced tea?
No.
It's completely different. Next time I come down that way, I'll bring an extra case and I'll let you guys try it. But when I had that, I went to McDonald's one time, a long time ago, and I was like, can I get iced tea? They're like, sure. Sweetened or unsweetened? I'm like, well, fucking sweetened, obviously. Get this thing. I'm like, oh, that's gross.
Oh, so you think McDonald's iced tea is sweet?
Oh God.
Oh Lord.
Well, I got that sweet tea from Nashville McDonald's, somewhere in Nashville.
Yeah, they're
But
pretty.
that was
much
a
all-
long. Yeah, that's a long time ago. But
Yeah.
it's
Next
just
time-
cold. It's just cold tea. It's just bagged tea that's cold
Yeah,
Basically.
with
Yeah.
a lot of sugar.
with a lot of sugar. Yeah.
All the sugar. Yeah,
Hmm.
next time you come down here, we've got a road you need to hit. It's like Marshall's home road, isn't it? In SA.
Yeah, it's sketchy. You start in a turn and you end in a turn.
Oh hell yeah!
It's a good time.
It's legit.
It's like pea gravel. It's less tricky.
It's fun. It's about an hour from us or
Okay.
so, and it's a good time. Everybody barbecues and hangs out, and it's on a dead end road. It's legit.
There's like 3 houses down there, and they just come out and watch. Like you can sit there all day, all night.
That's perfect. You know what's crazy is like Dig or Die is sort of like that. 20 minutes away, they got this little area. My buddy Chris lives there, and the first time we went there, he's like, "Yeah, the cop lives right up there, and the whole neighborhood's here to watch." I'm like, "Well, that's fucking cool."
Oh yeah.
So we were doing polls till about 2 a.m. Not one person said a thing.
Yeah, we've got to find some new spots around here. Just about everything has gotten so overrun. Like,
The cops are bad around here, so like we won't even try. That's why we came all the way out there to where we were tested, just because it's kind of not worth the chance around here.
Yeah. What do they do if you do get caught? Other than do they impound your shit there?
It depends.
They've passed it now where like if they even suspect you of it, they can take it.
Really? See, here in Canada, they call it stunt driving. So even if you like leave a set of lights, which I don't give a fuck, I drive how I drive, but if you leave a set of lights and you chirp the tire and the cop thinks that you're stunt driving, they can take your car for 7 days and they'll take your license for 7 days. And then you got to get it back from impound. Like, it's just a bunch of bullshit.
Just about getting a bunch of money.
Yeah, and if you get caught racing, don't quote me on this, but I think it's a $10,000 fine, and they take your car and your license.
So it's very, very scarce up there where y'all are.
Yeah, I mean, we still do it, but it's not like if we do it, it's not like America where there's 200 fucking spectators. Like,
yeah, and then
that's how you get busted.
Yeah, that's what any kind of races we do here. We try to keep it down, on the down low and sneak out, do a race, then go back to town. But everybody always finds out.
Yeah,
somehow, some way.
Always.
If you only tell 3 people and you show up and there's 150 people there.
Yeah.
That's what happened last time I went out. I told 3 people where we were going. I was like, hey, we're going to meet here. I mean, we're going to run it this time. I showed up and there was like 20 cars sitting there.
Yeah. Shootout.
Jesus. And then we got to the spot and there was probably another 100 people there.
People are crazy, man. They don't, I don't know what it is. They just don't care or they just don't think about it. They just want they want that adrenaline and don't care about the cops or I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to see it, You can't blame. I mean, we were those people at one point, but
we were, but it was a different time too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was a lot easier to get stuff off back then.
Well, cars weren't, I'm not saying cars weren't as fast, but cars definitely weren't as fast as they are now on the street.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you've got to have a little preparation with the cars, even just, as small as doing a burnout, getting backed up, strapped in. Like, it takes time doing it. And sometimes that time's not on your side.
Yeah. When we were in North Carolina, well, I went to that street race. I can't remember if it was the one before Dig or Die or the one before that, but the wardens ended up showing up or the game wardens. So we're sitting there and I can't remember who was doing a pass, but I'm looking at that gray F-150. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's a game warden truck. Everybody's like, no, it's not. He disappears, drives back again. I'm like, no, it's got to be a game warden truck. He disappears. My buddy goes out, and it's like, this was the worst place to race. One way in, out, or one way in, one way out, right here where we were racing. And then you had a T intersection, and you only had one way out either way there. So you're fucked. My buddy calls. He's like, you guys got to get the hell out of there. So sure shit, me and Bubba, we parked right at the entrance. We go. Next thing you know, there's 20 cops coming in this way, 20 from the other way, and they're going to ticket everybody there. But
oh, shit.
And that's, we had 150 people standing right in the middle of the T intersection under the lights while people are driving up.
Just standing there.
Every now and then the crowd does help out, though. If the cops sneak up on you and they block and the cars can get away because the crowd's sitting there, every now and then that works out. But usually the cops aren't going to come if the crowd in there.
Yeah. No, they'll just leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think they only come because there's potential for the crowd to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Whereas everybody at the pad just stood there and looked at the cop. There was probably 60, 70 people
They were mad.
staring him down.
Those cops were mad.
Man, driving. Okay, when we first left after the meeting, I did not realize that there was probably 1,000 people already sitting there waiting for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Like, that was crazy.
Barbecuing, like.
Yeah. Like, the cops didn't know we were going, you know?
Yeah. So that's, and then all the trucks and trailers in one spot, and
There's no hiding that at all.
Yeah, it just. If he was probably right. If we would have waited to the original time and didn't start until 2 a.m. or 1 a.m., we would have probably been fine because it wouldn't have been as noticeable. But, everybody was worried about the weather, which we were worried about the weather also. But
yeah, that was some weird shit. It didn't do anything it said it was going to
nope.
do.
Mm-hmm.
That's Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's it'll say that it's going to be sunny and then we'll get snow tomorrow.
You can't plan for it at all.
Yeah, I see that now.
Yep.
And like even just going from Monroe to New Orleans, the heat difference.
Yes.
During the day, it was so much warmer.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Monroe's a different place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different.
Lots
there,
of Sheldon's there. That's one of the differences.
He's in what he's in Bastrop.
Where he lives, yeah.
Yeah. So, Monroe's like I would say a smaller, a little more Wild West version of Shreveport.
Wow.
So that was a huge eye opener for me, was going to Monroe, like West Monroe.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand that people live like that normally. So that's kind of why I tell everybody you should travel a little bit and see how people have to live, because you might not be, you might be mad at yourself for how you live for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have it that bad. Are the three of you going to be at War in the Woods this spring? I will be there. I don't know if I'm going to be there with my car or not yet.
We're going to try. We're planning on it.
Yeah.
It's still a real early plan, but we'll just see how the year plays out. But it's definitely in the cards that we want to go.
Yeah, we have a couple of different vehicles that we're going to try to get together, so we may try something different than small tire class there.
Yeah.
Just since none of ours are really, really to the caliber of the cars that are running small tire there, for a front side.
Yeah. I got a question. Let's say your two top races that you want to go to this year. What are they?
I mean, Digger Die is always a big one for me.
I really like the inverse. What we're doing in February, Justin Lee's race. It's the street race in Haven. It's got a pond in the middle. You pull up and do RV hookups right on the edge of it. It's a 2-day race, 1 day on the front side, 1 day on the back side. And it's real legit. It's fun. It's not a huge payout race, but it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that we always enjoyed Digger Die.
So you're gonna go to the March one or just the December?
Probably December.
So I'm gonna try and hit up December every year.
Yeah. December's a race I like going to.
H-Town is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to make that last year and I didn't.
And if they do Muskogee again, that was real fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different surface and I liked it a lot.
We're doing our local race.
Yeah, our local race, DeSoto King of the Street. Sherry Beth puts it on, and we race there a lot. It's a whole lot of fun also.
So I mean, for the money you pay to come race on a real asphalt street, like you can't beat it in the data you can get off of there.
Yeah.
That's where 90% of my data on my car to get it to where it is now has come from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've heard about it. I am definitely not eating any edibles. Fuck that. Oh, that's good here. Yeah, man, I got a bad story about that shit. I was having a great time until I didn't. Let's just put it that way.
That's
But
most edible stories.
yeah, like I don't know how I could explain it without sounding weird, but I'm like, man, I was glitching out. Like if there was a you know what I mean? If there's a glitch out, you can imagine what a glitch out was. I legit thought I was going somewhere else. So
just like in and out of consciousness.
At 100%. Like I thought I couldn't breathe. Like so like I smoked weed when I was in high school, right? And then all of a sudden I couldn't do it anymore. I was having anxiety attacks. I don't know if that's what it was, but that's what I think it was, right? I couldn't breathe, do all this shit. Anyways, so I haven't touched it in a long time. And at my buddy's house, and I try a little bit. And I was like, oh, I'm doing great. Try a little bit more. Still doing great. Perfect. Fucking eat the rest of it. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Glitching out, thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
Oh yeah, you were definitely beyond where you needed to be.
Yeah, I was like, man, there's no way I'm having a fucking heart attack in North Carolina right now. I'm like, but yeah, I won't touch that shit again. That's for sure.
They don't work on me at all.
No.
I guess because my metabolism's so fast. I don't know.
I've seen him put down a lot, and we're like, oh boy, he's about to be dead. And he's just walking around working all day.
Yeah.
And we're like, what is going on here? And apparently some people's bodies don't
I guess it just
they don't break it down right for it to work. I don't know.
I've had buddies, I've made this. Man, I'm gonna waste. Just don't. It's fine.
Yeah. Some guys ask, any new upgrades planned for your cars?
I'm gonna probably start building me aluminum 427. Mass is helping me out on some parts for it, and a local machine shop's gonna do a bunch of the work. And that's gonna be our backup for the 5.3 once the 5.3 finally gives up the ghost. But we've played with the idea of a big block.
It's been tossed around a bunch, especially
we have access to a Proline 540 that I thought about putting in there, but at the same time, I'm kind of I'm budget minded, so I know if anything messes up with that, it's not going to be like an LS where you can just swap a block or swap this or swap that. It's all expensive stuff.
Well, and it's hard to justify because a lot of the stuff we like doing is real shitty backside, and putting that weight up front plus just being able to power manage it down low, it's kind of hard to justify it. But the power that it makes, it would change your car completely, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, that's like even just driving Yoshi, I was like, man, the torque this fucking 427 has compared to my car is something else.
Yeah. And that's what I was wondering, maybe like a 5.3 or something, just to tame it down a little bit. But
yeah, I don't know. I like swinging for it. I may leave a little slower, but if I can just cram it all in down, on a virgin road, cram 2,000 horsepower out the big end and drive around someone, I mean, that's pretty fun.
And that's the thing, his car's so heavy on the rear. Like if it's planted at 200 foot, it usually doesn't care.
Yeah.
So I will agree with that. So the first time I ever stood at the big end of the track was when we went to that cement where we went in Kentucky. There was it Kentucky?
Yeah.
And I stood at the big end, and your ass come fucking flying by me at the stripe, just wiggling like this, and it's just whoosh. I just felt you go right by. I was like, holy shit, he was rolling.
Yeah. His car on the back end is pretty disrespectful. I watch it all the time.
Yeah. It's I was really surprised the other weekend when I went around Randy Westmoreland on the big end, because his car is really impressive, especially for him racing on radial on bad surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the white Trans Am, right?
Yeah. And I was really surprised, but that's the road that was real tricky up at the beginning.
Okay.
And I think I had 240 pounds in the trunk of the car. I didn't change my ride height back to where I should have, but usually with that weight in there, it'll try to wheelie off the line on any kind of surface. And this thing just knocked the tires. It just rolled out like 4 feet, knocked the tires, and I had to gather it back up and just cram everything out the back door.
It was a ride height change. I mean, that's the only, major change that the car had made.
Yeah. So,
But we still have quite a few people on here. What is some tips you can give away on how to improve your program?
Long travel works.
I agree with that.
long travel works. It's not necessary for every application. It's mainly for the bad surface stuff like we do.
It is.
But
if you have a good set of front struts and you can lock them down, like even if you go front side racing, it's not that big of a detriment. Ours aren't really there with the valving, I don't think. I know mine aren't.
Like people think my front suspension is some crazy wild stuff, but it's literally some off the shelf AFCO spindle mounts.
Mm-hmm.
That's they have 6.5 inches of travel, and I couldn't go any further than that because my A arms are literally from the 90s, and the little joint at the bottom of them bottoms out. So I would have to rebuild the A arms to do any more travel, and it doesn't really need it.
No.
So.
But your weight bias is also considerably different. Whereas like mine's got double the travel his has, but mine only sits 47 on the rear.
Right.
And it looks basically everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Bias is definitely a big part in your tune-up, but you need to have enough data recorded where you can say, hey, at this bias, I know on a mediocre track, I can leave at this and ramp the boost by this, but on a shitty track at that bias, I can only do this and this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then don't finger fuck the laptop just before you're about to do your pass. Like I tell all my customers small changes, and then I go to the racetrack and I'm like, throw it all in.
I have literally not updated my screen inside my car just so I can't be sitting there watching someone run in front of me and sitting there turning the tune up on the screen.
Yeah.
I haven't. Yeah. I've literally not updated it on purpose, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because I will.
You know what's bad is my fucking friends. Because I tell them, I'm like, I leave my laptop at the truck for a reason. And then, I see, oh, we got Tommy. I'm like, hey, go grab my laptop. And they just go grab it. Don't do that shit.
Yeah, don't do it when I tell you to do it. Yeah. Man, looking at surfaces, like improving on figuring out different surfaces. That's the first thing we do. Like when we get somewhere, we go look at the surface, see what it looks like, what it feels like.
We try to watch the first couple pairs.
Yeah, just depending on where we end up drawing.
Yeah.
My favorite thing.
That plays huge. That plays huge where you draw.
Yeah. My favorite thing is going first round off the trailer.
Mine too.
No one, especially if no one has data, that evens the playing field extremely. And my car excels on surfaces like that. So if I can guess a tune-up pretty good, and then my strategy in the ECM will take care of the rest.
Yep.
And
that's a big part too.
And it's kind of, that's just my favorite deal. And the bad part about that is if it turns into a good surface, like in Kentucky, after first couple pairs, you have zero data for second round.
Yep.
That's the only bad part about going first off the trailer.
Yeah.
Because that Kentucky race, that thing got good.
Yeah. But that comes back to paying attention to other people's programs too. Like, after we get done running, we're back up watching, what it's changing to, what everybody else is trying, how the groove's coming in. Like, other than the cars, there's a lot that I feel like people could probably improve on the race program.
I think a lot of the questions that I get, I think the best advice I could give someone is just look at something with an open mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because there's been many times, even when I was testing with you guys, I'm not shy to come ask you a question. Yeah, I might tune hundreds and hundreds of cars, but you know what? You might be better at something. Well, you clearly are better at something than I am. And if I can read like the shock data, I don't know what to do with the shock data because it's no prep, and it's IRS. It don't look nothing like your shock data.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And then you show me and you're like, well, this is how I read mine and this is what I'm looking for. And then I look at mine, I'm like, well, now I can figure out sort of a way to read mine and use it to my advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and there's so many tables that you can come up with. And I've been playing with, wheel slip tables and, boost versus wheel slip and timing versus wheel slip and just all sorts of stuff. And, some of it works really well, especially like you said, first round stuff. I got a really good strategy for my car to go first round down a really shitty road. Like it'll go the same number every time. Whether I'm off on my boost ramp, it'll still do it because I'm either adding or subtracting boost based on a certain percentage of this and that, right? So
yeah.
I try not to let it correct a lot, just let it do a little and then leave enough on both the buttons.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I try not to have to grab a scramble, but every now and then it's needed.
You do all the time.
I need to disconnect mine because as soon as I even click second gear or it's hooked, I'm grabbing it anyways.
Well, I like if it's hooked and I can tell it's hooked. I'm not gonna say perfected, but I've gotten my traction strategy so close that it's hard for me to tell in the car when it's on it. And
because it's smooth.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
It's not one of those tractions where it's just sitting there going, why, just pulling timing and everything. Mine starts pulling a little bit of timing. And then when it gets to a certain amount of wheel slip, it'll start pulling throttle because I'm drive by wire also.
Right.
See, I used to only use the throttle, but I kept having problems with at really high boost. If it tried to close the throttle, the boost would just cram it back open and it would break the motor.
And it air out.
So I started calming it down with a little bit of timing, and then I would do the throttle, and it's worked out really good because the throttle it exponentially pulls power out because I have TPS modulation on. So when it starts reeling back the throttle, it'll start reeling back the boost also.
Okay.
So when it starts reeling back the boost, it just kind of, it multiplies itself and then it'll gather up and then it'll just ease it right back in and
ease it right back in where you're using the tire.
And you can't even really, unless it's really bad on it, you don't ever feel it do it.
Yeah.
So like my scrambles they're usually, they won't even activate if the wheel slips over a certain amount. Or
that's exactly how I run mine. Yeah, exactly.
So
another thing people don't understand too is dialing in these wheel slip tables takes a lot because your tire grows different rates at different temperatures down the track.
Every car wants a little different wheel slip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like my car,
100%.
My car likes about 13 to 15%. You go a little more than that and it slows down. You go a little less than that and you're losing time because it just likes that 13 to 15% area.
And that depends also on your wheel slip chart that you program into the ECU as well.
Exactly.
I see some of these guys' wheel slip charts and I'm just like, man, that's fucking crazy. Like they must have come up with it by themselves instead of using the calculator. Like there's a calculator out there that you can use based on weight and all that and tire and gear and all that shit. But
I would say his car is smooth. Like you don't feel the traction control in it at all.
You don't hear it. Not like I never hear it on your car.
Unless it just tries to shoot through the roof, you'll hear it grab it every once in a while. But most of the time, no.
I lie. I heard it at that backside we went to.
Yeah, it caught it a couple of times.
That was because it was going negative timing. And my car doesn't like low timing for some reason. It'll start popping and banging and it just doesn't like it.
Like I can't even pull more than like 10 degrees on the brake. If I pull any more than that, it just pulls the whole motor down.
Yeah. 5-3 problems.
Yeah.
That's how mine is.
I'm lucky on my setup. I don't have to pull any timing to get up on the brake or to build boost. It's literally like an NA car, pretty much just whop. And what's real interesting is whenever it thinks it's on traction, like if I don't have my ride height sensor set just right and it lifts the front tires off the ground on the big end and it it trips the wheelie control and the traction together. If I fat finger something and it yanks like 30 degrees out real quick, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But that's usually I got that situated.
Okay, that was the
Yeah.
fireworks out of the
Yeah.
motor, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've got a
Some
video
sparks.
somewhere.
Yeah.
No. It
The
looked
whole
like
motor.
a mortar.
Yeah, it just
Came out of the side
torched a
of it.
block.
I think I seen that video actually. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things you can do, and everybody does something just a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is some people learn with better people than other people learn with, and that's another problem, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's why I like to. I don't need to have an ego when it comes to tuning cars. I don't even know if that's the right word.
Everybody knows something.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but there's going to always be someone that knows something a little better than you about something. You may know something a little better about another part than they do, you know, and then that's kind of like our whole team that we, you know, race with Trailer Park Mafia. We all share data. We help each other out. We help each other figure out what's going on. Like Cody Wagner's car, that car flies.
Yeah.
Like it's really impressive, especially whenever he just runs a stock bottom end motor and it runs what it does on a no prep. You know, his car runs faster on a no prep than my car has ever ran.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. And, you know, we all share a little data and see what helps each other and makes everybody a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got to do.
Yep.
That's also why I want something lighter. And it's effortless.
You just got to do more testing on yours.
I mean, there's a limitation to that chassis. At the end of the day,
I was listening to Stephen Little there earlier, and he made a good point. Like, if you make your Blazer fast, or I'm getting down pretty good in my car now. I'm getting shit sorted out, but when we move to a lighter chassis that works better, it's going to be easier.
Yeah.
The amount of shit that we learn with these cars that are not properly set up and then get a properly set up car, imagine what we could do.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where I was at on it. Cause I mean, I can literally see everything he's doing compared to me on the same surface. And, you know, at some point, you know, chassis just becomes a limitation, especially with that thing being so short and so pug nosed, you know, eventually I don't think it is yet, but it's eventually just going to get to a point where I'm not going to be able to go faster in it. And that's why we got the Camaro.
Torque arm?
No, we may end up keeping it leaf spring.
Yeah, I think we're going to keep it leaf spring. That way he can run in like the lower classes. Not lower classes, but the classes he fits in.
Yeah, I mean, it's still got...
He's not going to puppy kick. He's just going to have a motor inside the car with him.
Yeah.
Just puppy kick, yeah.
I mean, it's got a factory firewall.
Yeah, factory firewall, factory frame, factory.
I'm just going to start calling you guys the gray area.
That's what always have been. I mean, the car was cheap enough. Like,
so let me ask you a question. To see if this is gray area. If I take a car and I cut the firewall, but I just move the stock firewall back, is that still stock firewall?
I think it depends on how it's worded.
It's how it's worded. Some of them they say stock firewall. Some of them they say firewall and stock location.
Factory location firewall. Yeah. Like a lot of places around here, they'll have that like factory location firewall, and then it kind of.
I haven't seen that rule here this last year, except for, you know, in a couple of, you know, the True Street classes or something like that.
No.
Well, I'm wondering if you could do it to the point where somebody wouldn't even really notice, like just even 3 inches out of, like, say your rain tray or whatever is like 8 inches long, and you shorten it up 4 inches, but it still looks all factory and the wipers still work.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you know?
It's really easy to get away with stuff. Because like when you had the rat rod,
we had when I had the rat rod the last like 6 months or so. It literally had a LSX engine in it. It had a 370 in it. It had the 6-bolt tabs hanging off the side of the motor and everything with it had stock heads on it at that time, some 317s. everybody walk up to us and say, "Oh, what y'all got in there? Stock bottom in 6 liter?" And we're like, "Yeah."
Oh, I lied
And
to
they
everybody.
would stare right at the extra head bolts on the block and not notice a single
Because
thing.
it's just stock heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was stock heads, but they literally, it was a painted blue LSX block, and it had the freaking 6-bolt tab sticking out of the side of the motor, clear as day, right and open, and nobody even questioned it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think putting the motor in the middle's going to be a little bit of a game changer. Having something that I don't have to add weight to, because I'm not
Are you
heavy
gonna-
enough to move the weight anyways.
You're
But
gonna
just-
wear earplugs?
Probably.
No, the exhaust. We're probably going to put the turbos in the original engine bay
Yeah.
out of the car, and then it's going to have like a kind of a ballistic style.
Okay, that's good. That's
doghouse.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
it's going to be all closed off from him inside.
Where I sit in the car, like my feet are about the bell housing. So the
Okay.
orientation where I'm sitting with it isn't much different than any other car.
Yeah.
So
everybody thinks he's going to be sitting up there in the stock location right beside it, and he's not. He's going to be way back where the back seat would be.
Well, that's what I thought, because when you guys were on the other podcast, that's what I was saying was where you're
Yeah.
sitting.
Yeah, it's good. I'll be in the very back of it. I'm probably going to have like the rear window as a escape hatch just in case like the doors get crushed or something, can't get out.
Mhm.
But I'm going to try to move everything to where I have to use every bit of weight that's going to have to be in the car anyways, and go ahead and put it back and shoot for like, 57, 60% on the rear and still 2,500 pounds. So theoretically, it should be 24, 25 with me in it.
So it should work real good on backside. He's thinking it's going to do good on the front side. I don't think it's going to.
Maybe if
I
put
know
some
what my
plates on
car.
it.
I know what my car does at 54% rear,
Yeah.
and I'm not fighting traction. I'm fighting wheelies, and like I've hung weight off the front and everything. And
So what do you think? You think a 50-50 is good for front side?
Front side probably 52, 48,
Yeah.
something like that, somewhere around there. Personal preference on the front side, but
It depends
Like
on the
48
traffic.
to the back, 52 to the front?
yeah.
See,
Yeah.
that's what my car is with 0 added weight.
Yeah.
And that's probably how you run it on a decent track, huh?
I got a bunch of weight in the back that just
Really?
it's there all the time, and that's what I'm going to take out. My car, I probably shouldn't say it, but my car sits at about 53.5 always.
Yeah.
And then if I add 150 pounds, it gets to about 57.5, 57 and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, mine is 54.5 with me in it with no weight added. And then we have 240 pounds we can put in the back and 100 pounds on the rear axle. And it gets it real high in the 60s.
Yeah.
Real high in the
That's
60s.
crazy.
And it just,
The car doesn't like the weight with me in it.
yeah, it throws him around with him in it, but I'm used to it. So I run it. He doesn't.
Mhm.
But sometimes winning a race is a little more important than me having the fun of driving it. So sometimes I stick the lighter guy in it if it's going to be a fast race.
It just depends on there's a certain number where if we think it's going to go that fast, we'll stick me in it. But if it's, slower than a certain number, it just works better with him in it.
So, speaking of that, how did you guys become this team? Like,
So
you two, because you guys are always together, right?
I started having a bunch of health problems back in, 17, 18. I was a frac engine builder for Caterpillar. And
Your frac engine?
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
doing
that's what I used to do was frac.
Yeah, a 3500 series. That's what I used to build. And
Cool.
I started having seizures really bad.
Oh,
And,
yeah, I remember this. Yep.
yeah. You can't really work on, big equipment like that and have that going on. And I didn't really know what to do. I was losing pretty much everything, couldn't work. And you had the shop probably 8-9 years
Yeah.
at that point. And
We had just moved into the new location. We were here for about 6 months. He came here one day because they wouldn't let him work. He sat down with a 6-pack of wine coolers or smeared off ice and got drunk on the floor off of 2 of them. And I said, if you're gonna hang around here, you got to get to work. And this man,
all right.
he went and cut the. I was like, he was driving a V10
Excursion.
excursion at the time. I said, you ever heard one of those straight piped? He's
Nope.
like, no. I said, go cut the muffler off and see what it sounds like.
Oh, so that was actually your fault. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this man had a race car after that.
Hey, sound like a detuned Lambo going down the road. It was great.
Yeah.
And after that, he started working, and we just started hanging out. He lived with me for a long time, and
Just so I could get back because I stopped driving. Like,
yeah, we're just playing it safe. We spent 2.5 years trying to figure out how to stop the seizures, and because he never had anyone around him long enough to see what was happening. And after he had the seizures, he didn't remember anything about it.
So I wasn't any help is trying to figure out, what was going on with it or anything. So while I was living with him, I was answering the phones here and just he had the rat rod at the time, said he was going to race in Dallas. I was like, I can't do anything. I can't race. I can't do anything. Let me come film. So went and filmed with him, and it's just snowball effect into what it is today. I got my health in order, figured out, what was causing the seizure and stuff, because I didn't start building the truck until I'd been 6 months without one. Because weekly, I was having multiple a week.
Yeah, usually on a Tuesday and a Thursday, he would have a seizure right after lunch.
Just stressing out over things that, not controllable, and racing took the stress away. So I did what I could, and the whole time I was videoing, like I was learning how different chassis were working, power man, just different things that people were doing. And after I finally got everything figured out, I was like, well, I'm ready to build another one. And, took everything I'd learned from him and over the years and put the Blazer together. Actually, you gave me the Blazer as a Christmas bonus when he bought it originally. Buddy of ours was building it for like 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. And he moved the firewall, did the ladder bar, a couple of things like that. But other than that, it was a bare chassis. And put it together about the same time he was putting his car together, and been racing ever since. But we work together every day too. Like, he owns the shop. I kind of oversee everything that goes on through the day. And so we get to learn it, pretty much through the day too. That helps out with the hobby.
Yeah, we do a lot. I've had some not the Bones is definitely the fastest vehicle I've had, as far as like drag racing. I've had some fun vehicles, I had a turbo Tahoe that I built. It was my first turbo vehicle to build. LS swapped 2-door. I love 2-door Tahoes. I still my first vehicle was a 2-door Tahoe. I still have it, and I'm in the
3 or 4 others.
I'm in the middle of like restoring it. I've been restoring it over the last few years, but it's going to come out, and it's probably going to have a big block with twins and about 3,500 horsepower. But it's going to be 100% able to be run in a daily driver class if it won't. And but we just play with the cars, build them, have fun.
We like trying wild stuff.
Yeah, I like trying out of the box things. I don't like normal stuff. I like a pretty car, but I don't like a pretty car for myself.
It's one more thing to worry about.
With my car, I like to take the trunk off, throw it on the roof, and sit on the back of it while I work on it, or whatever I need to do. And if you have a nice paint job, you can't do that. You can, but you ruin your nice paint job.
It's hard to keep a car nice.
You don't need to tell me.
If you really race it, like beat the shit out of it, man, it's hard to keep them nice.
That's
Streets tear them up.
With the exception of a few cars, like Nate keeps Pony on top, like top notch. He keeps that thing nice, and then like that Red Hulk car that we raced in H-Town, that thing is really nice. And there's a couple other really, really nice cars, but if you notice, most of the other cars, they're about 10, 15 footers. And there's a reason for that, because, racing them, they get messed up, they get scratched, they rattle apart. The lightweight parts don't fit up that great most of the time. It's just,
my car's turned into a 15-footer.
Yeah.
So we were just looking at it 3 days ago, and I was like, it's time to fix it back up, paint it again. So that's what we're gonna do.
You know, with my car, we just piss people off because we don't have a front end on it. You know, it's
Oh, I seen that shit the day of the pad. And I'm like,
Oh, it's
these
so
fucking
funny.
guys.
Look, we love every bit of it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People think they're getting our feelings. We sit there and laugh and read all the comments and laugh.
Well, because most of the time, the people that are hating on it, they're the ones that comment on everything. They follow every post.
Yeah, they're sitting at home on their couch. No offense, but
it's work.
That's another weird thing that I can't wrap my head around. Is we were talking about it earlier of the position that some of us get in here, and I never understood the whole. Like, if you see all these posts and people, they're following the same people every day, you know. And a lot of people sit there and watch, 6-7 hours of somebody else living their life, but they have an opinion on everything that we do at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like no front end on your car.
Yeah, they're bitching about no front end, but they aren't out driving 3,000 miles a weekend to race and spending $5,000 a weekend just to go to a race.
Yeah.
And we're going to have fun. Yes, it's nice to win them, but most of the time we're going to have fun, have the experience, get the footage, for a later date.
Well, at the end of the day, you got to want to do it. I mean, this isn't a sport that if you're just in it to win, unless you've already got a bunch of money beforehand. But if you're just in it to win, like, it's not going to be fun.
You know what? Like, yeah, you're right. And something this year, I've met so many good people, Like I said, I'm not really I wouldn't say I'm not a people person, but I don't go out in public. But when it comes to racing, the amount of people I met, most of them are pretty good dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun. I mean, I had great time going to the track and going to the pad and going go-karting, and that was a killer day. So
I was real surprised more people didn't show up there, because like when we're in Houston, like when we used to go to Texas 2K during the day, we would pack out Andretti and K1 and all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it was K1, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was K1.
And I'm talking, we would be waiting in line, and it would be everybody. And everybody would be racing, and then they would be pissing you off because they'd be turning them down mid-race because people were bumping, and then you would be messing up your times. And it was just a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what they do? I'm going to stick to that. That's why Zach beat me. They turned my car down.
Oh, we were cussing the people because we were just driving by, flip them off.
Yeah.
Like, stop turning our shit down because these other people don't know how to drive.
I was trying to win. Turning my shit down. Yeah.
Man, how about them friggin' massaging chairs that were there?
Yeah.
I didn't ever get to try it out.
No? Oh,
no,
man.
I did for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was like, I've been in a few massage chairs, but that one, like, it did everything. Your legs, your feet, your neck, your head. What's that?
I mean, it didn't do everything.
Well, no, not everything. But
oh, shit.
Yeah. The only thing that sucks, when you have a bunch of people that you talk to, especially, outside of where you normally are, is when you're at a race, you're so busy, you don't really get to talk to the people.
Unless you're first round up.
Yeah, and then you're usually mad at that point. You don't really want to talk to people as much at that point. Trying to figure out why it didn't go down. Yeah.
That was me at Ohio. So Happy had a race, and it was one of the ones where you start at the 8th mile and you go towards the back or whatever. And I'll tell you, listening, everybody got into my head. I'm hearing this guy. He's like, oh, man, it's so fucking good. It's going to be so fast. John Quick went this fast. And, so I'm like, oh, I'm turning this shit right up. This is it. That's what I'm doing. And Happy was – no, and, like, even Happy, he was looking at me because my car's just like, wop, 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 wop. Like, it was ready to go. And I let go of the brake, and that thing went to fucking 8,800 RPM in probably 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Didn't even move.
That is one thing I've learned. Don't listen to all that because sometimes people put that in the air. Just
Yeah,
just
as a
to get
tactic.
someone to turn their stuff up and overshoot.
Yeah, like we'll be talking to people. Be like, yeah, I didn't go that fast. I'm like, oh, I went, a 60 down here.
Well, I know John. I know John went quick, but my car is not meant to do that race. So, yeah, I had no business leaving on what I was leaving on. It was cool, but I was mad.
Try something though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I drove right to the fucking trailer. I had that car in the trailer, fucking strapped down in probably 1 minute. I was in the truck and I was gonna drive away. And I'm like, I better go say bye to Sherm and Happy. And I went down there and then obviously talking to Sherm. Sherm's like the most calm person I've ever met. So I'm talking with him and his buddy, and I calmed down a little bit. I was like, fucking I'll stay. Drove 7 hours to do that, and I was gonna drive 7 home instantly.
Yeah, we've drove many a 6 to 12 hour races just to draw each other first round.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
All the time.
Yeah, so we got to where we just call someone out just so we don't have to race each other first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have a car being 15-footer? That means it looks good from 15 feet away.
It's a show car at 15.
Yeah, if you walk closer, it looks like a POS.
Not necessarily a POS, but it gets rougher and rougher.
Yeah, just beat up.
Yeah.
Just one thing less to worry about.
That's the new car. If we get this thing together, it's going to be, I don't even care what it looks like. Just unload it, race it, go home.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that mindset on a race car nowadays. It doesn't matter what it looks like as long as it wins or goes rounds or has, even if you don't win, just if you have fun, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. No, and I do have a lot of fun most days.
Oh yeah, no, there's always tough days.
Yeah. You always
going a couple rounds is, I mean, at this point in our racing career, there's so many fast people now,
definitely.
And if I could even go 2-3 rounds, I'm actually satisfied going 2-3 rounds. Maybe I didn't win, but it's like, fuck yeah, I'm progressing.
Yeah.
I got a car that shouldn't be in small tire, right? And it's doing a little bit of small tire things. Cool. Now I'm gonna go home happy. But
I'm gonna tell Ryan this, and I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna start carrying around oranges or apples or something in the RV, and that way next time I go to race Ryan Mitchell, I can shove them in the zoomies on that side. That way I can actually hear my fucking car.
That thing is fucking loud.
It is so loud. I thought when he let off at the end of the track in the Ozarks, I thought my car died. I couldn't hear nothing. My ears are ringing, everything, and I'm still on the throttle. I'm like, oh crap. And it was crazy, deafening loud.
That car rattles you for sure.
But that man right there, he is fast on everything. It's amazing what he does with that, that setup on that car.
Well, he has probably 10,000 races of data and knows how to interpret it.
Yeah, that's the main thing. He knows how to interpret it, and even with that new Pro Charger setup and stuff, it's he said it's actually easier to tune for the different surfaces with that because there's less to deal with.
Yeah,
a gear change on the drive and timing, and some AFR here and there just to make it change a little different power. But I thought about going that way, but I hear that it's a lot of money, and I hear horror stories about the Pro Chargers messing up a whole lot, and that's a lot.
We broke 3 crank pulleys on that big wheel car that I'm helping out on in like a very short amount of time.
Yeah, like I've always wanted to put like a 1471 Roots blower on something to race it, but at the same time, it's just so costly to do that. And
one in power management.
Yeah, and then the power management is even worse. And then
I don't think a Pro Charger is ideal for something like an LS unless it was like a LSX block or something in a good crank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For the type of stuff we do type of setups we run, nah.
They're cool. They make lots of power, and I mean,
they're cool shit.
If you let go of that brake, you could have it all if you want it right there. So, but
this guy said we cut you out of the pic. He must not want to show his face. No, he's most wanted.
No, you sung that song, remember?
Oh yeah,
Richmond and Richmond.
What's that song you wrote?
What's his name? What's that guy's name again?
Corey.
No, not the guy that actually sings the song.
Oh, I don't know.
Oliver Anthony.
I got people that ask me to sign all the time.
Well, next time I see you, I want an autograph.
You're getting punched in the throat.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. Yeah, you guys thinking of coming to KD?
That hill does look like fun. I also feel like
I haven't been.
Cold. It looks like a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we get some videos out and start getting some income in from the YouTube,
or
we have to pick and choose our races, especially when we bring both cars.
Yeah.
Just because, having a 40-foot RV and then a stacker trailer and, the amount of fuel it takes to get there and back, it just has to make sense to us. And a lot of times there's so many races around us that's a lot closer. That's why we've stayed pretty close here lately. But whenever we do, get on a good winning streak, we have a bank account for Always Send It. We put the money in there. We spend it traveling and improving the cars. And, then we go to those big ones or we save up and go to the out of town ones just to have fun. It's kind of, it's our vacation to go. Like when we go to Dig or Die, that's our vacation. Yeah. We like having fun. We like going there. Leaksville, that's a vacation. It's awesome time, hang out with people. It's awesome atmosphere. So it's kind of like a little mini Dig or Die on the backside, I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we're still real budget minded when it comes to all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like we have a pretty strict budget we got to stick to, and any little win helps. Any little income we have come in, or a sponsor comes on board or whatever, it helps tremendously.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Yeah.
I drained my account this year doing what I did. So
yeah,
you did a lot of traveling though.
Yeah, it's the bucket list here. You gotta go for it.
Yeah. I mean, you might not be here tomorrow. Do it today.
Yeah. Do I regret it? No. Does it suck having to do what I got to do now to recoup so I can go racing again? Yeah.
That's part of it, though.
Yeah, that's part of it. So, but I think I'm busy enough so I can replenish that enough where I can go racing. I'm probably only going to pick. I said I was only going to pick 3, but there's 5 races that I want to go to this year in the States.
Yeah.
Like travel wise, anyways. Yeah. Milan's really close to me. It's about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. So I'll probably hit those when they go. I got my race in Canada this year. I know it's really far for you guys, but that's going to be a 2-day event.
What kind of surface?
Really shitty backside and a really shitty front side.
How far are you from us?
Far.
18 hours? 18 hours?
Yeah, 15, 16 hours from, I think, where you are.
I mean, it's 12 hours to dig or die for us.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's a really shitty. It's the front side track is good. It just doesn't come around unless they prep it, and it's water burnout only. So there's no pour your own puddle.
How does getting across the border with a race car trailer and
you should be fine as long as you're not a criminal.
Oh, we're good then.
All you need is your.
Oh, are you a criminal?
He's a cookie monster. Like I'm pretty sure the Mac TV guys only had their driver's license too, and they got across no problem.
Oh shit, we can probably make that.
But I always suggest to cross in Sarnia because anytime I've ever crossed in the Windsor border or the Niagara border, those guards are something else. I tell you.
Yeah.
So the Sarnia is a
Oh.
little laid back.
We've always wanted to try some of that the northern street racing stuff. So
Detroit's got a good street race.
Yeah.
yeah, something like that.
Race there, New York, something.
So we may,
Yeah.
we may plan. That's the one good thing about owning the shop that we work at. We can plan a week or so off and go have some fun and
Work
do
harder for a couple of weeks and then take
Yeah,
a week
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna catch kidney stones again.
Yeah. If you do decide to come up here for that, I can always set something up where we do get on the streets of Detroit, and I'll go with you guys.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds like a good time.
yeah.
No. So
I know a few people there that can make that happen for us.
yeah,
And October it'll be cool, but it won't be cold.
I'm down for that then.
So
we do have merch. We have shirts right
Mhm.
now. Someone asked about it.
We've got shirts.
They're
We've got
setting up-
hoodies
Y'all are
that
setting up.
will be coming in. Yeah, we're setting up the website now.
Yeah,
where
setting up the
everybody
website.
can
That way,
order.
you order it, it automatically gets made on whatever size you want and shipped straight to you.
But as soon as any of that's out, we'll definitely post on that.
also that race is also a 2-day mud event, mud bog and bounty hole as well. There's a mud park right beside the track.
Take the big side by side.
That's how
That's a long drive.
that's how Leaksville is too. They've got
Yeah,
they've got side by side track.
There's a
right
mud.
next
There's a mud park right next to it. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely send us info on that. That sounds like it'd be a good time.
Yeah, and like I said, if you're coming for a week, I can make some shit happen where we're busy for a week if you want.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, just
we gotta get the cars to stay together for a week of racing.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We'll address this maybe around like
once we
August,
see it.
September.
Yeah, see if anything is together at that point. But
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will make it happen, but
oh yeah.
if there's one thing that we're good at, is not too much of downtime.
No,
Yeah, we try to keep it to a
this is
minimum.
the longest we've been down for a while.
Mhm.
And that's mainly because I just needed a little bit of a break. We were going, when I tell you, I think we maybe just had like 1 or 2 weekends off the last year. Other than that, we were racing every single weekend.
Living the dream.
yeah.
I mean, whether we were at DeSoto King of the Streets here in town, or we were in Oklahoma, or we were in Mississippi, or New Orleans. Have we been to Kansas with this car? I don't think we've been to Kansas with this car.
No,
But
No,
just all over the place, and
we're pretty centralized in a good spot where like Dallas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Memphis, like nothing is too crazy far away. We're like you can make a weekend trip out of it.
like, we'll go
Yeah.
9 to 10 hours on a whim. Anything after that, we're gonna
Pre-planned.
plan.
Plan it.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I was saying to the other guys. There's just so many races this year. Like, there's probably 10 races a weekend all over the country, right?
Yeah.
And some of the guys were getting upset in the one group chat. I mean, I'm like, listen, the guys hosting the events on the same days in Louisiana aren't going to drive 12 hours when they have 15 races around their hometown.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of races there.
Yeah.
And that's something I noticed even being there, even though it was really cold and nothing was happening. There was a lot of talk about, we're going to race here. We're going to race here. Twin City, obviously you can race.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys race there, but
Yeah, we've done
Every now and then.
Yeah, we've done a
Yeah.
little front side, and they like DeSoto King of the Streets. They'll throw a back half of the race there. We start at the 8th too. That's a good time.
Yeah.
man, it wasn't a good time when we were there.
No, nothing would move.
No, that was bad.
I
That was.
was like I said to you, I'm like, if Bobby goes down here, I need to reassess what the fuck I'm doing with my life.
Oh, it was bad. I've never just knocked a tire like that.
As soon as you knocked the tire, I clapped. I'm like, fuck, it's not just
He's like,
me.
Thank God it's not me.
I backed up. I went, "What was that?"
Yeah,
Try that again.
yeah.
Yeah. It.
If your shit doesn't go down,
I mean, and that's the bad.
nothing is.
That's a bad thing. One of our friends has been a 20 on that.
Yeah.
Must have been during the day.
Oh yeah. during the day, it's
No, it was nighttime.
was it night?
I'm pretty sure.
My memory ain't good. It's fine.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Shelton can inform you on that.
Yeah.
Must have been during the day a bit though.
I
Or
don't
was it
remember.
at night?
It was definitely not. It was during the
What?
summer.
Yeah, okay.
was
So it was
fine.
really dewy the night we were there.
Yeah, yeah,
The leaves
And
don't help.
leafy. Had
Yeah,
lots of
the
leaves.
not help.
no. But they didn't. That dude didn't matter on that concrete.
No.
Man, that was wild.
Yeah. When I
That
let
was
go of
the
the
first-
button and I let go of that button, I heard those tires fold up. I went, oh boy. And it went
Yeah.
straight up. Just picked the tires up and went to the left. And I was like, all right, well, I need to get this thing steering to the right.
Boy, that shutdown though.
Yeah. Shut down a
Yeah,
little
if you ran it out too far, it shut down. But
Uh,
I remember coming back the first time I'll go of that break, and Shelton was laughing his ass off. I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Your tire sounded like it hit a garbage can or something. It just
Yeah.
took off, like and gone."
Yeah.
I was like, "I've never raced on concrete, so that was the first time."
that's how we don't hit a whole lot of concrete. Really, the only time we hit it is when we go to Dallas. Everything around here is pretty much asphalt.
Yeah, it's crazy how much power you can ramp in on concrete.
Yeah. This guy's asking about a sick week. We are gonna try to get a spot in race week since it's down here by us.
Mm.
Um,
Because they're actually going to Twin City.
yeah, they're going
On
to
this
Twin
round.
City. They're going to a bunch of tracks around us. So we're going to try to get a spot, and we're going to work on getting Bones legal enough to be able to pass tech at one of those. If not, we may take, like you were talking about the jet truck or something like that. If we can get it, to a certain standard to where we could race at that.
To a certain safety.
I don't know how strict they are on their
Jet cars?
no, just on their tech period. You go somewhere.
Probably pretty strict.
Yeah.
Like NHRA style.
Yeah,
So, my car's got a certed cage and everything on it, but it's it's old.
yeah.
So, but
Older
I
than
don't,
us.
I don't have windows. I'd have to put windows in it. I don't know about how they feel about no front ends, but it's definitely something I want to do.
See that race where Buddy's banning the skeleton cars?
I seen that.
That guy, he is a crybaby about no front ends. He's coming to one of our local races, and I don't even know why he's crying because his car was literally probably a second and a half to 2 seconds slower than mine. And Zach was actually supposed to race him. The race where Zach stood it on the back bumper,
Yeah.
that he was supposed to be racing that guy.
Oh, that guy's throwing
Yes.
it? Oh, man. Fuck that guy.
The best thing ever is his flyer literally says anything on a 28-10-5 except skeleton cars.
That's wild. I mean, that was the whole point to us going to running 28s because it's pretty much unlimited, minus like steel quarters.
Yeah, they aren't bitching. A lot of people wouldn't bitch if they looked underneath my car and saw it's just some basic bullshit that's from the 90s.
Man, hey, it is.
Car's got the original 12 bolt from that car from the factory. It's just been
12
narrowed a
bolts
little
are
bit.
strong.
It's been narrowed a little bit, and it's got axles in it and disc brakes.
Yeah.
It's got ladder bars. That one of them's bent from getting picked up with a forklift.
No.
I know a guy that's been 460 on a 12 bolt.
Yeah. Well, I have not.
No.
It's a race car.
Yeah.
But he would get, I can't remember exactly. I think he only got like 10 to 12 passes and he'd have to rebuild the rear end. But he raced 12 bolt for many years like that. So,
yeah. Those old bracket cars, man, you can find them so cheap. And a lot of them have good chassis underneath them that'll work. And you can go do this for relatively cheap.
mhm.
You may not be as competitive with some of the cheaper stuff.
You got to start somewhere though.
Right. Like when I built the Blazer, I had under 10 grand in it by the time it was done. I mean, it's escalated a little bit, but it's still just, all off the shelf stuff.
Yeah.
I just had this pop into my head. Did you remember that cop's face when you pulled the door down and it was your car in there? Follow this on YouTube.
Oh, man, I know this car.
Yeah.
Does that help us out?
Yeah.
We we used to drive them around town a little bit, and we drove it to a little car meet here local, just to mess with some people.
They told us we wouldn't drive them, and they weren't street cars.
And so we got in it and drove, and mine's titled, licensed, insured, everything. And I drove. I wasn't worried. It had overdrive transmission in it, and I was just cruising. We pull up, and a buddy of ours was in a Supra, and then there was some guys and some GTRs and this and that, and we meet up at Andy's, and we're eating ice cream and stuff. And I'm like, so I hear y'all want a roll race. And I'm like, I'll try a roll race. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. All right, you're not gonna roll race a dig car.
Oh, come on. You was talking all that shit on the internet that we wouldn't
Yeah.
drive, and now we do.
Yeah. But it's all fun and games. We just, a lot of times just like to have fun.
We like showing out.
Man, people hate on all styles of racing. Like, I'll literally race anything. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if it's roll race. Yeah, I'll race my damn feet, and I'm fat. So,
well, no, I mean I will, but I'm real fast for a real short distance. I can only do like 300 inches.
Yeah, I was gonna say 300 feet's a long distance.
You had to think about it. Like,
yeah, I was like, shit, that number came out wrong. Inches.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, golf carts, we race them.
Oh, yeah.
All the time, yeah.
I mean, we went to Las Vegas for SEMA. We raced the slingshots we rented. We raced the mopeds we rented.
Man, those slingshots are disappointing, are they not?
Well, we got a manual one, and then we took the dash apart because they had unplugged the traction control button to where you couldn't turn it off. We took the dash apart and plugged it back in so we could still we were doing donuts on top of the Hoover Dam.
Allegedly.
And allegedly. And apparently you weren't even supposed to go there. Like, it was out of the range of that you were supposed to drive them. But
I remember, so I got in shit for the range thing too.
It was a blast. Well, we rented them where we rented them from. It was a higher, like, that was the cheapest thing they had. Everything else was Lambos and Ferraris, and so he told us, he's like, listen, all this stuff in this paperwork is for all these expensive cars. He said, as long as you don't bring this thing tore up or wrecked, we're good. And I'm like, okay. And we had fun. We had like 3 of them, and we had 6 people, and we just took turns. We went out in the desert and saw how fast they would go, cruise around town. We drag raced down the strip.
Mm-hmm.
It's been long.
We
drag race down the strip.
They're really good on fuel.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I think when my missus and we went to Marco Island, it was the same thing. They had like all these fancy rentals, but I'm like, fuck, we'll just rent the Stinger or whatever the thing, Slingshot's called. And we drove that thing around all day, and it used like $25 in fuel.
Yeah.
Like,
you get sunburn though.
Man, I'll tell you, I've never been to Florida, and I was as red as a tomato by the time I was home, and I could barely move.
Well, don't ever go to Costa Rica then, because any of those areas right on the equator, I got messed up. I got bad burns. I fell asleep in a pool one time. 30 minutes, and then my skin was peeling off that night. It was bad. But like in Vegas, we rented a minivan, and we pulled up on some friends that were standing in front of the Pawn Stars place, and like kidnapped them, like grabbed them and threw them in the van. Didn't even stop. Yeah. Just had the door open and threw them in the van and took off. You want to talk about some funny looks? That was hilarious. And then shortly after that, we dumped all our luggage in the middle of the Vegas Strip because we forgot to shut the back hatch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Just asking for trouble.
That was good times.
Yeah. That would have been hilarious. If I was standing there and seeing that shit, I'd be like, oh, am I in a movie?
Yeah, it was a bunch of dumb shit, but I think there was like 10 or 12 of us that went.
Spent a lot of money there?
Not much. Back then I didn't have much to spend. But I mean, we had fun. I think everybody ended up spending like $1,200 a piece, and we were there for 4 days. It wasn't terrible. We ate good. We had tons of fun, and it was a good time. SEMA,
somewhere I wanted to check out, but I just feel like it's way too busy for me.
it is very busy, and like that's the first place I was walking down the sidewalk, and I'm like, I smell weed. And I turn around and this guy's just smoking a big ass fucking blunt. And then a cop walks past us and I'm like, oh, let me see how this plays out. And then my buddy's like, no, it's legal here. And I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And, we're just walking right in front of the fountains in front of the Bellagio. It was just, and just some of the people there is crazy. It's an experience. You got to go at least once. It's like,
I probably will.
it's super cheap to go from here because they have direct flights from Shreveport to there, and it's like $100 to fly there. But it's interesting.
Yeah.
You already been sleeping.
Yeah, it's independent rear suspension and big wheels. Yeah, I had my own power wheels when I was a kid.
I want to try some big wheel racing.
Well, and big wheel racing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I really want to build a big wheel car, but that shit is expensive.
they're getting wild with the cars that are coming out.
Because you can't just show up on any 24s. You need the center, the spinnies in the center. You know, you don't have those, they ain't real.
Well, and you've got to have a good wheel that won't come apart. That's
That
fast
too.
going on them.
Yep. And those
One
expensive,
teen, 120, 60 foots,
Jesus.
and then those expensive ass tires.
Yeah,
That how many-
$1,800 a tire.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that's out of my budget.
I
know,
think
but-
that's out of all of our budgets.
You know how much small tire stuff we can do for that?
No shit.
Yeah, I can barely afford a friggin' brand new set of small tires every time I go somewhere. Let's be real.
Right?
Ugh. Yeah, probably were.
Yeah, still quite a few people watching. It's cool. Like I said, never thought this would be what I'm doing, but here we are.
Sometimes it just leads to that. Yeah.
I think this was a really good podcast. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah. No, we had
Talk
fun.
about some tuning and just a bunch of shit.
Just-
No conspiracies this time, so should be all right.
we don't have enough time to even watch them.
Yeah.
No. My problem is I put the earphones in and then I just work in the shop by myself. So sometimes I go down some weird ass podcasts. But
Yeah, I try to find as many like racing podcasts and stuff. Like I messaged you like a year ago when you first started it. It was like keep doing it because it gave something to listen to because you would always talk about tuning and stuff like that and just pick up little things here and there.
well, this originally started, I would say, just because like when I look at, so if I didn't meet you in person and I seen you, I would have thought you guys were completely different than you are. You're just normal like me, right? Like you do your day job, you're building cars, you're doing this. But I think because the internet has all these videos out of everybody now, you think you're in a big league compared to a normal person. Like that's how a normal person would look at you. So the reason why I started the podcast and having everybody on is so they basically just, shoot the shit, realize that you're just a normal guy, chasing your dream or whatever. And people can see everybody else differently, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
No, it does. Like even when we go to races and you see people out there that, like you were saying, you watch on YouTube, Facebook all the time, you think it's almost like a bigger than life kind of.
yeah, exactly. So
like,
that's,
yeah, even when we're racing like at the same race, I won't walk with people. I'm like, they don't know who I am. They're busy. They got their own stuff going on. Like, yeah, no, I get it.
I would like to keep, like, I would like to turn this into just doing the racers instead of like in the beginning, I was kind of like picking like big parts guys and, big tuners, but I would like to just do the racers and just shoot the shit and get to know people and hear their story. And who knows, maybe in, 20, 30 years, somebody look back on this and it'd be like a cool documentary or something. Like Happy was talking about all the guys in the 70s and the 80s growing up, how he wants to, talk to them before, they pass away and all those stories get lost. Well, maybe we can just tell stories and keep doing this and have you on here and there. And
Yeah, I was lucky enough that I have a real good friend. His dad was real big into the street racing here, and he used to tell us stories. Like, they would pull up to a place called GM here in town and race all day and all night, like legitly. And they you go there now, you get one pass off, and the cops are coming looking for you. But it's crazy to think how far back the racing was. And they were actually going pretty fast back then. I don't think they knew exactly what they were running. They knew what they could run at a track and what they thought they were running here. It's the butt dyno isn't nothing compared to a draggy, pretty much. Just like you said, if it feels slow, it was probably fast, unless it was actually really slow.
Like, you can always tell when the 60-foot picks up, but you can never tell when the pass picks up. Like, if the pass feels smooth, it's usually pretty fast, but like, when you let go of that trans brake, if it's 60 in, because your head either hitting the seat or it's not. So
yeah, depending on how big that kick is in the back, if it's hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like out the back door, it's hard to tell the difference, but 3 or 4 tenths of a pass.
Sometimes you feel like you're screaming and you're like, man, that's all I went. Like, there ain't no way.
Yeah. And then you look at the data log and you're like, oh, it was pulling 12 degrees timing for traction. That's why.
Yeah. But it was still at 8,800 RPM, just ripping.
Singing.
Sounding like it's doing something.
Yeah. My good determining factor is when I feel that 1-2 shift, how long it takes to get to that 1-2 shift. That lets me know how good of a pass it is.
Yeah.
If it gets there fast, then I know I'm hauling. When I had the rat rod, it had a bench seat in it, and if you had a good launch, the truck did like 1.4s on pretty much, like it would do a 1.4 at dig or die first round.
Yeah.
But if it started going faster than that, you would feel it. It would literally launch you so hard, you would hit the support in the back of the seat. It would hit you in the back.
Oh yeah.
And by how bad it hurt by how fast you were going.
Yeah.
Because I would leave on 20, 25, 30 pounds of boost on it, on the foot brake.
And it was painful.
And it was just violent. And knowing what I know now, it would probably been a little faster if I would have toned it down. But it was just so much fun, and it would mess people up so bad whenever that thing would just leap off the ground and jump out a car or two. And then by then it was over for them because I had all my power in at 100 feet.
Well, plus they're scrambling at that point trying to get after you. So that's always been my goal. But
so a 580 truck was winning so much, and when these cars were way faster than I am, I just was catching them by surprise and jumping out, and they were just fucking up after that.
And
what do you do when someone gets out on you and you should have them covered? Scramble.
Get out, make them panic. That's what I try to do. His would with the all-wheel drive, it wasn't really that big of an advantage, like in the short track. But when all the rubber went away, when it would get worse and become an actual street up top, like it would take everything he could throw at it as long as it planted when it left.
I think literally all I changed on that thing on tune-ups between road to road was launch RPM, just to build a little less or a little more boost. That's all.
I still don't think it was easier though. There's not a lot of people that can compare like a good all-wheel drive and then a fast two-wheel drive, and I think that truck was more difficult. Really,
I drove it from muscle memory. It always kicked over to the side the same and everything. And
all the torque steer.
Yeah, if you watched a video of the inside of the cab, you'll see every single time the rear end would kick over to the right. I would counter steer, and then straighten up, and it would just everything in it all the way down. It was fun. I missed that thing. I'm gonna build another one.
You know what? I had a pretty crazy idea. I should probably maybe just text it to you because you might actually put it into play.
All right.
I have a pretty killer idea, and I don't think it can be beat.
Oh shit!
Maybe I'll save that. I'll run it by you first, and the next podcast we'll say it.
When I first built the Chevelle, when I first built Bones, I thought about making it to where I could pull a front end in and out of the front of it. And that way, if it was a real bad surface and they allowed all-wheel drive, I could throw it in there. And then if it didn't allow it and it was just small tire two-wheel drive, I could pull it right back out and put regular suspension back on it. But the car ends up working so good that, you know, I didn't need it. But it is what it is. We can always build more cars to try more stuff out.
Yeah.
Well, I think you two are crazy enough to actually put this into action. I'm gonna text it. I'm gonna write it in the private chat here, but I want to know also. Fuck, I had it on top of my head there when you were talking, but what was your favorite race to date that you've been at? Like the most exciting race you've been at?
I would say Matt Spencer's 41 car Sunday service that we did in the Mississippi area.
That's been probably 3 or 4 years
In the
ago.
Rat Rod, that was a fun race. That was we got done working on the Rat Rod. We drove to the northern Mississippi area. Slept in the truck for 2 hours.
Yeah, this is when we had a single cab.
Yeah, we're in
trailer.
we're in single cab with an open trailer.
We were slumming it.
That so like E-Ray.
Or the new Acura NSX, same way.
Yeah. So I have thought about building an electric car. I
knew that. Yeah.
I've been researching it, and I just haven't gotten to the point where I can put it into play. But that's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean, because then you wouldn't have to drive it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's probably a little over my head on the software writing area. I could build it, but like writing it to where it had the correct strategy to do that.
It's always something I thought about, because like I was building this MK2 GTI. You know what those are, right? Those old school Volkswagens, the very, very small ones. That motherfucker had torque steer, boy. And I was going to put it all-wheel drive, but even if you watch all the high-horsepower all-wheel drive ones, they just bounce all over the track like his truck would, right? You'd have to drive the thing.
So we learned on the Rat Rod that like a lot of people, they'll tie the front ends down on the all-wheel drives, and they'll make it real rigid, and you can't do that. We had to let the Rat Rod transfer back on the back tire just like a two-wheel drive car. And we had it aligned with the front end, the suspension full droop, and that's how the truck wanted to work. It had some off-the-shelf Rancho shocks on it, and on the front, and it would set back, and the front tires would be up in the air, and it would touch down, and that's when the all-wheel drive come into play.
Like it was a stock Ford Explorer sport chassis.
Yeah, and it was
100%. Front diff,
and it didn't torque steer as much as most people have. Like you see the Chevrolet trucks out there racing, and they're blowing off the left front tire, just roasting it. Mm-hmm. And then because they're doing that, it puts more strain on the rear, so they're spinning. Mm-hmm. And then by that time, they're all out of shape. You know, they're making a smoke show. It takes a balance, and you got to play with it a lot. We had a lot of passes. I would promise, you know, I would probably say we had at least 1,000 passes in that Rat Rod, at least. I mean, I went through 7 stock bottom end motors
fast, you
know, playing with it, learning it, tuning it. We were on stock operating system until we went twin turbo. So we had a S488 with a 200 shot of nitrous, running it at 28 pounds of boost, you know, and the stock operating system can't see above that. So when we sprayed it, it made more boost. We couldn't see it. We were just hoping the fuel was there for it.
That way we could give a little more.
So how did you control that? You control that with the PE?
Just on
you just target a certain PE, and then obviously your VE offset.
Yeah. So if I thought I on my gas tuning on stock ECMs, I like EFI Live, and they have
Okay.
a pretty awesome speed density 3-bar setup.
Oh, okay.
And if I knew I was going to just push everything through it that I could on the stock ECM, I would just go to that top row and just add however much fuel I thought it was going to need for however much I did. So it would be a nice smooth graph on the VE table all the way to that
Until
last
then,
row, and it would just be a ton. So I just would always have to make sure it went right past it, right to it and to that max. And you know, I'm assume if you ever mess with any E38 style computers or something that have a limit on the boost that they can see, you've done the same thing. That last row, if they're wanting to run a whole bunch of boost, you just put the fuel up there and let it eat.
I'm going to be honest. I do that with Holly with guys that don't have enough map sensor and they want more boost.
Why wouldn't they change the map sensor?
Well, just if they're at the racetrack and they need more boost, right?
Yeah.
I'll be like, this is only a Band-Aid for today. This will get you by, but it's not right.
Yeah. So
sometimes it would hit a cut. Sometimes it wouldn't. You know, it depends on, I mean, every ECU. I don't know. I find the Holly stuff, sometimes an ECU will do something and another one won't. I don't understand why, but
We've had a couple like that.
We've had a couple do some weird stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like, literally, you could take that ECM and stick it in another car and it would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take that ECM and stick it over the ECM out of that one, stick it in this car, and it would do fine. So you were like, okay, it's not the wiring. This ECM's doing fine in here, and this one's doing just. But Holly changed the game on our racing. I swapped the Rat Rod to Holly and twin S366s, and it was just. I ran that thing on E85 because we street drove it all the time. It had a 480 in it. It didn't even have a trans brake. We foot braked it on everything. And we had a direct port meth kit on it because the IETs were getting so high that anytime I went over like 28 pounds of boost, it was so hot that it was losing power. So I put a direct port meth kit on it. And man, I think whenever I sold it, the last few races, I was running like 47 pounds of boost through it, 18 degrees of timing. And when I tell you that,
with just meth injection,
with meth injection, with that direct port meth injection and the 85.
Yeah.
And it was, we kind of hit a wall on how fast it would go.
Mm-hmm.
And we started getting ruled out of some stuff. And at first they were like, we don't care. And then we started winning some races and they were like, oh, you have to have a radial on it. So we put radials, and then it was actually faster on the radials.
On those DBRs, yeah.
Yeah. Hoosier DBR on all-wheel drive. That thing was good.
It would mile an hour actually out the back.
And Ryan Mitchell actually turned us on to those when we were at the first Civil War. Because he's like, man, these things, he said he picked up 4 or 5 miles an hour just from the tire change.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it had 8. It had 8 nozzles plumbed into the intake into the high ram, making sure that each cylinder got meth correctly. Yeah,
that's a big thing with methanol injection. I don't like to do just the single unless you're just doing it to cool the air.
Yeah. Oh no, we were when I say I had a 5-gallon tank in the back, and it had like the solenoids and everything on it. That way the pump can be pre-primed and pre-pressurized and everything, and it would just open the solenoids and dump the meth in or pulse it in. I had it pulsing in through with the Holly. But I don't remember what nozzle size it was that we had
drilled, but
it was the biggest nozzles they sold. It would use 5 gallons of meth in 4 runs, somewhere around there.
And did you mix your meth, or was it pure meth?
It was pure meth.
Yeah.
But I think that's how I got away with so much timing in it also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say 18 at that. It's getting it. On the 85, it's getting it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that thing was so much fun. And I've got my eye on another one that we're going to probably build into a replica, or a Jeepers 2.0 or something like that, just to bring back the nostalgia and go have some fun. And
Man,
it should be.
We get away from what we got into this for, don't you think?
Yeah.
I miss the Tim, going to Tim Hortons or McDonald's, meeting up with your boys and going out racing and cruising
Yeah.
around, doing
We've learned that
burnout,
around- We've learned that
being
around.
dumb. Yeah.
It's a lot more streetcar oriented. Taking
I
those
want to get
cars
back
out,
to that too.
yeah, it's a lot of work. He's got a Blazer now that's pretty identical to mine, other than it's white and blue. But
Mhm.
and we're gonna put that one together to play around with.
Yeah,
I've got a 52 Jeep we're gonna put together. I think I'm gonna put it on hard tires and have a little fun run around. Plus, it doesn't weigh anything on a hard tire and should work.
Mhm.
yeah, a few little toys. We got to slow down from racing to build them, and then we'll have some different stuff for different classes and have a little bit more diversity in our program.
Yeah, last year we were working on them so much just because we were racing so much. Any free time pretty much went to them, and then as soon as we had free time, we were at a race. So
Mhm.
I think we're gonna slow down just a little bit and try to put together some fun little projects and have fun, a little more content.
Yeah, you guys ever figure about doing like a build series on your YouTube?
I think we're gonna try that with the cars that we're putting together.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Even if it's not something big, just what goes on while we're doing them. Some of the little stuff that we do here and there. That'll be something that'll kind of come together with time once we start doing it, and just see how it lays out, videoing it.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of work, but it could be worth it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Especially something like your jet project, people would eat that up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we got some good friends that hang out with us that they're going to do some filming for us. That way we can work on the stuff and actually get some good footage. Because it's just, we've tried setting up the GoPros in the corner while we're working on stuff, and it just isn't the same as when you're interacting with it and, getting a good view around everything. So we're gonna try some new stuff definitely this year.
Well, having people around definitely helps, because when it's just us, usually we're so deep in whatever we're doing, we're not really paying attention to anything else other than what's going on. So having other people to interact or hold a camera or catch while we're doing that I think it's the big ticket.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, well, damn, boys, we did 3 hours.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, damn, this
Didn't
did.
feel like it at all.
Didn't feel like it, did it? It's the most they seen Bobby talk.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
Get me in a vehicle. I won't shut up.
no, he talks for sure. I'm usually the quieter one, honestly.
No, it's always good to have the friends that are quiet.
Yeah.
I assess people. Like whenever I'm around people, I listen to them and listen to what they're saying and kind of feel on what kind of person they are and what they have to offer and as knowledge and everything and kind of go from there. So it takes me a little while to really just start
Come
talking.
around. Yeah,
Because I'm
for sure.
seeing, I'm just assessing the situation everywhere I go.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the way my mind works.
And I just shut up and listen to what he says and try to learn.
Nah, you're talkative.
Yeah.
I try to
I
be.
think the first time when we were at Kentucky there, we talked for almost 2 hours, just nonstop. So
Yeah.
and then I always seen Bobby off in the corner there, just quiet watching.
Yeah. Usually on the laptop or trying to figure out what he's doing with the car. Yeah.
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 But all right, well, where can people find you guys? Where do you want them to find you?
You can find us on Facebook. Always send it. Same on Instagram. Same on
TikTok.
on YouTube, TikTok. Yeah, we've got a couple different TikTok accounts. Definitely want to thank Circle D Specialties, Nitrous Express, Mass Motorsports, VS Racing, and Stripper Glitter Compound for being with us. We rely on them for a lot of stuff. A lot of them come on board to help us out and get these cars as fast as they can be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rue Forged is
Row Forged has done all of our graphics work. They're going to be who's setting up the website.
for the merch. So the
Yep.
merch website will be coming real soon. I know a lot of people ask about that. So
We're trying to get that up as fast as possible.
and it's going to be nice because they're not going to have to wait on us to get stuff together and ship it out. It's all going to be automated to where as soon as they order it, it gets printed out and shipped.
Damn.
So, and
Big time.
we picked out pretty good high quality clothing for
Yeah.
it. You know, Bella Canvas shirts and stuff that doesn't shrink whenever you wash it. Because I'm a tall guy, so I have problems with them shrinking, and then I can't even wear a shirt after it shrinks.
Yeah.
If
Pack
it's
guy
short-
friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
we're real
Yeah.
big. Like both of us are real big on it. Even if it's a nice T-shirt, if it doesn't fit right,
It's done.
I'm
I'll
not
throw it
wearing
away.
it. Yeah. So.
See, I'm a little chubby, so I like them just a little bit thicker and
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
shrinking.
Yeah, the hoodies and the shirts, they definitely they fit just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
As far as like lengthwise and stuff, pick your arms up, stomach doesn't show, stuff like that. But
Well, you wouldn't know.
well, no, I wouldn't know, but I gotta get what everybody else wants. So
I gotta have shirts long enough so people don't think I'm a plumber.
Yeah.
God, out everywhere.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully we can do this again. I'm sure we will. And
Absolutely.
I'd like to keep this podcast going as long as possible, man. It's getting some traction now. I think I'm up to almost 14,000 views. So it's getting there. I mean, it's been a process, but
Oh yeah, I mean they all start out at nothing.
that's right.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah,
That's right. Well, it was a pleasure having you guys. And till the next one, man.
absolutely. Had a
Thank you,
blast.
sir.
See you later.
Later.